I guess I should give like a little bit of background on my biases going into this debate. I have not seen it yet. Okay, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't even seen any. I saw one clip of it. Okay, and that's it. It was like a meme clip. Clearly, it wasn't like a substantial, actual, like crazy clip from the debate or anything. I am going into this basically completely blind. However, I'll give a little background. American Johnson, aka NonCompete here, was actually one of the very first left-wing YouTubers to not only shout me out, but also to sort of like start talking to me and kind of like not befriend me, but sort of like send some support my direction very early on in my left-wing YouTube career back in 2019. And unfortunately, as time passed, he started to get way more tanky, and obviously, we've seen the total degradation of the online left that's happened from 2019 to 2022 to present day and onward, no doubt. In my opinion, American Johnson has had a bit of a fall from grace. As for Vaush, I mean, I'm friends with him. I think he's pretty cool. Has he missed on some things? Absolutely. He's had plenty of takes I think are disagreeable, I'm sure. But for the most part, I think he's a pretty good dude. I think he's pretty well reasoned, and generally, if I find out that Vaush is in a disagreement with somebody on like on the internet, usually I'm probably gonna end up agreeing with Vaush, because generally it seems like he comes to the correct conclusions on things. Like usually I'll like hear a story, I'll hear about something going on, and I'll be like, oh, okay, well here's my opinion, and then I'll hear like his opinion on it, and it'll be pretty similar, and I'll be like, okay, yeah, he's a smart guy, his brain's in the right place, it seems. So those are my thoughts going in, those are my biases, those are my preconceived notions going into this debate. That's the lore, that's the backstory, so let's hop right into it. I haven't seen shit from this, and it's an hour and 47 minutes long. This is going to be a long debate review, so buckle up, buckaroos.
Hypotheticals aren't... Wait, do you think an idealism is when you construct a hypothetical?
And we're not even speeding it up.
Do you think those mean the same thing? You're going to lecture me on dialectical materialism.
There's no
and you're
point in
struggling
having
on
this discussion is my point.
Can you answer that question? Do you think idealism means
True,
when you
Billo.
construct a hypothetical? Have you read
If you
Capital?
construct a
It's full of
hypothetical
hypotheticals.
that has nothing to do with reality, and you think that that gets you closer to the truth, that is idealism, because you are making the ideal conscious processes of thought your basis for truth.
Idealism is not when you...
materialist, and my basis for finding truth.
I see the issue. You think
world.
idealism is when you think, which is why you don't.
Xanis spoils it? I don't think it spoils it. It's like a treat. Like there's a trailer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, yeah. Thank you for agreeing to talk to me. I want to set this up by saying there is overlap between our audiences, and some of the people who watch your stream and watch mine have told me that I should reach out to you and talk to you, and they said you would be reasonable. I don't watch a ton of your content, so
Okay, I want to say this, all right? I think that EJ's content back when he was doing the puppet videos was fucking top tier, okay? If EJ had stuck to like the puppet video format, I don't think... not only would his channel be significantly larger than it is now, not only that, but I also think that generally people would have a much more positive opinion of him than they...
I'm taking their word for it, and I want to talk to you in good faith, and I know that there has been what some might consider drama or beef going on between you, me, and Luna, and some other people developing for some time. So I just want to address that and give you the opportunity to respond to some questions and things like that. So does that all sound like what we kind of agreed to in the emails?
Yeah, my pleasure. No, this is a bit of a novelty for me. Normally when people disagree with me, they sort of just take shots on Twitter. I actually have a lot of respect for people who like hashing it out. Whatever my reputation might precede, I do actually enjoy just calmly talking about disagreements, But yeah, hit me up. You sent me an email the other day, and some people in chat were complaining, like you put out a video shit-talking me. But in the email, to your credit, you did say, hey, I'm going to put this video out, so don't interpret this as some kind of like sneaky, So yeah, I don't think they have anything to complain about.
Yeah, and then also, people have differences about what's appropriate and what's not. One of the reasons I put the video out before the conversation was because I wanted to kind of formulate my thoughts and have some sort of basis to speak on. So I do want to try to get your... Yeah, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to some of the things I said. I doubt you've had time to watch it because it was a very long video, and and it's only been like maybe 11 hours since I uploaded it. So
No, I'm afraid I have not. I saw some people in my community reacting to it. Some liked it, some didn't. I'm known for having a disagreeable
So far,
community,
it's
so I
going
guess
all
I'll
right.
see when I see.
Wait a minute, let me just. Okay, so all right,
the stream
so
up.
yeah, I think we're all on the same page about that stuff. So the meta discussion, I guess, is out of the way. We can talk about the real issues.
Yeah, hit me up.
Okay, so there's three things. I told you in the email, like three things I really wanted to kind of talk about, and the first thing is about, and I don't expect this to be a very long discussion. The first part, I wanted to just talk about the responsibility that we have as creators that have a large platform, right? So like, you and I both have pretty large platforms. I've got like over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. You have, I don't know, what are you up to now? You're pretty big.
Oh, it's like 360, 370, somewhere there, I think.
Yeah, well, you have a ton of people watch your stream. I mean, you have very impressive numbers in terms of watching your live stream. So I think it's safe to say that we both have pretty substantial platforms. So I guess the first question I would ask is just in general, do you agree with me that when somebody has a large platform, it comes with a certain responsibility?
Yes.
Okay. I figured you'd agree with me on that.
Where are we going with this?
Do you also agree that part of that responsibility is trying to develop an understanding of your audience? And because your audience is not a monolith, my audience is not a monolith. There are different kind of like sort of divisions within every audience, right? So you kind of have to get to know your audience, understand how the different sections of your audience are likely to react, and just kind of be familiar with your audience, right? And so, I mean, do you agree with that? I guess I'll ask first.
I don't know if it's a moral obligation, but it's definitely a good idea.
Okay, yeah. Well, here's why I think that I don't know about the word moral, but here's why I think it's
When does Luna
important
Oi join?
for people, especially doing political activity, like discussing political topics and that sort of thing. I think it's important because obviously we influence our audiences, right? And if you were doing like unboxing streams or just like let's play videos or whatever, I think that the degree of responsibility can vary. But when you talk about political things, you're influencing people politically, and you also have to know that there will be like mutual impact. So like you might say things and then they'll go out and do things, and vice versa, right? So I guess that's the basis of my next question, which is, you must realize that because you debate people on the far right quite a bit, and because of the nature of what you do with your debate streams and that sort of thing, that there are a large number of right-wing people who watch your show.
I don't know if there are a large number of right-wing
Luna
people
never
who watch my
joins?
show. There
Really?
probably is a good number of politically
I thought she does.
undifferentiated people, but at least in the communities that I've seen,
Maybe she was
and
just in
cultivated, my
post
YouTube
this
comments, my
Cope
Discord,
stream
my
or
Reddit,
whatever?
I think the closest right bent I have is an annoying.
Oh,
group of
she shows up in the
liberals
Cope
who
stream
insist on
afterwards.
watching
Okay.
me. Apart from that, I don't think I have many hard right followers.
Okay,
Definitely
yeah,
not, no.
I'm not. I don't want to use any like loaded terms like audience or followers or community. I just think that it stands to reason that if you're regularly having discussions with people on the far right, there will be some overlap between your audiences. Some of them are going to come over and like hate watch you. Like I even get hate watchers on my channel, so I know there's an element of that.
hate watchers.
But yeah, I guess my point is,
you literally can't control hate watchers. What do you talk like? If you're a lefty streamer or political content creator, especially if you're a streamer, you have literally like I have 115 viewers right now. I'd be willing to bet maybe at least eight of those viewers are probably Nazis that are watching that just hate me, and they're just sitting here like with OBS open, screen recording my stream just in case something that's like embarrassing happens that they can like clip in the moment to like upload it online or whatever to shit talk me. And that's always going to be something that happens. Like you're always going to have like people that hate you watching your content just because they're anti-fans. I like to think that like anti-fans are technically like fans, because I mean, what else are you going to call somebody who nonstop watches your content even if they hate you? Anti-fans, right? Like you're always going to have people like that in your audience, but they don't like you. Like if there are any far right people that watch Vaush even out of spite, then they're probably thinking the whole time, ugh, I hate this fucking liberal Jew pedophile. Ree. Like I doubt whatever EJ is getting at here is actually happening, because I feel like this is leading up to some like weird criticism of the idea of engaging with the right.
if you know that there are right wingers, even if it's in law of large numbers, you have thousands of people that watch your stream. So even if it's like a small percentage of your audience, that's still going to mean there's like maybe hundreds of people,
chat to the other side of the
fascists or racists watching. That's possible. I don't want to debate about the numbers or whatever, but I guess okay. So I'm gonna move on to the next point of my platform here, and then I'll let you just totally respond to my point, because I'm almost done making my point. Mm-hmm. So if you have, if it's true that there are any right wingers watching you, that's one thing. And then another way to know, I guess, a metric of whether you have right wingers or not is how people engage after you've done something, right? So like if I make a video, I'm going to try to gauge the outcomes. I'm going to try to watch what people are saying on social media about it. I'm going to go to Reddit and check that out. I'm going to check the comments on my channel or whatever. And so what I've noticed, and a lot of people have noticed, is a pattern where disturbing attacks like that. Now, I've seen it happen with Luna because I'm married to her. We spend all of our time together. I monitor, I help her administrate her comments and that sort of thing. And I also know other people who have shown me similar results. You know, so I guess my first question is: are you aware of that, or would you deny that that's?
Okay. I'm gonna say this completely biased as a friend of Vaush's. I don't think I've seen him like get into drama with someone or like throw shade at somebody and it resulted in like Vaush's audience then like shit talking that person on Twitter. Like usually it's never him throwing the first stone, and it's almost never a disproportionate response. Like, I can't think of a time where somebody, like, threw a little bit of shade at Vaush, and he just, like, came back with the fucking hammer and, like, just sent his audience to harass someone just because they said something negative. Like, I can think, like, it just doesn't, yeah. This non-compete person is fucking insane. People would have to have brainworms to not side with Vaush in this drama. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen this yet. Also, welcome, Nicholas Sturio. Good to have you here. I mean, EJ has had a massive, like, downhill fall. So regardless of what you think of Vaush, I think it's just objectively, like, he's in the right in this probably. Because EJ has really lost it from what I've heard.
Something that happens.
I think I
think he has me blocked. Does he have me blocked? I think he might actually have me blocked on Twitter. I know I have Luna blocked on Twitter because she was like, I got into an argument on Twitter with her, and then she started doing that thing where it's like, you have like a natural conclusion to the little tiff you have on Twitter. Like, what's a tiff? You like go back and forth like a couple times, but then it's like pretty clear, like, okay, this interaction's over. But then like she kept on layering on responses, like in a like. She kept on, like, trying to get my attention again for me to engage. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And then I just blocked her. But I think he might have me blocked. He's suspended. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll never know then. He's currently suspended, apparently. That's a sheesher McGeesher.
You know, there's a whole narrative about my community harassing people, but in spite of nearly 3 years of trying to track down the people actually doing this, I've yet to be provided a single piece of evidence of it actually happening. Usually the initial claim is some very severe, you know...
Same, by the way. I have yet to have a single person who's accused me of having, like, a hostile, abusive, bully audience. I've yet to have a single person who's made those accusations towards me hit me up and send me, like, a screenshot with evidence or a name. Hey, if anybody is engaging in actual real harassment, I'll ban them from the community easily. I ban people from the community for much less, okay? And nobody has been able to provide this to me. The people on Twitter that complain about Debate Bro streamers and their communities literally are just hamming it the fuck up. 1 or 2 people, like, you'll get like like these people get like a few dozen fans of like Vaush or me or Destiny or, well, not Destiny, but or like Demon Mama or like Shark or insert lefty Debate Bro streamer that has a lot of like controversy around them. They'll get like 12 responses that are just like, what you said was dumb, here's why I disagree, and they'll call that harassment, okay? Like, come on, dude. Like, they never, there's no, it's not like an actual real substantial issue in any of our communities, because at least I know that I take a pretty good, like, solid stance against, like, my community engaging in harassment. Shark has controversy. Shark doesn't have as much controversy, but he inevitably will. You can't do live stream debate, like, coverage content like that and not eventually stumble on your words enough or say something that can be misrepresented, okay?
Vaush community, you know, harassing, like, really bad stuff, right? But then I get some screenshots, and it's usually people just being kind of mean, which I'm fine with. I don't have a problem with people being mean to people I don't like. I guess it's possible that this happens. It's just not something that I've been provided substantial evidence of. If it can be provided, I'll ban those people from my community. But yeah, outside of that, I don't think it's I just don't think it's that much of an issue.
Okay. Yeah, so, okay, I guess I'm not going to press it too much farther. I will say that, like, this is the kind of thing that it's kind of hard to
substantiate.
Litigate and substantiate, right? Because like, so for instance, I can just tell you from my personal experience that, you know, since I literally look at Luna's comments every single day on her YouTube channel, I kind of get an idea. Like, she does get racist comments every day, you know, and you know that that's probably true, just because any person of color, black person on the internet that's putting themselves out there and talking about politics is going to receive that kind of thing. So she does get those kinds of comments every day. But every time you've done a video where you talked about her, suddenly there's like a big uptick in the number of those kinds of racists and just terrible kinds of disturbing comments. And the only other time I've ever seen that happen, it's only happened twice before, and once was after we had the discussion with Destiny, and once was after the armchair historian and her had a little bit of a back and forth.
Okay. Holy shit. Like, Blogger 2, chill the fuck out. Okay. Actually, just ban, hold on, wait. Oh, wait, never mind. Yeah, just ban Blogger 2. Yeah, they're a troll. Never mind, just ban Blogger 2. Anyway, yeah, so something that EJ clearly doesn't understand is that, like, just because you recently did a debate with, like, a large public figure and now you're getting a lot of hate comments doesn't mean it's the fans of that large public figure, okay? Shit tons of Nazis watch Destiny out of spite. Shit tons of Nazis watch Vaush out of spite. And shit tons of Nazis watch me out of spite. If those Nazis that watch those figures out of spite become aware of a small content creator that's part of like a marginalized community, you better fucking believe that that those hate watchers are gonna go shit talk that person. They aren't fans of the creator, okay? Clearly they're not. Do you really think Vaush's fan base or even Destiny's fan base are the type of people that are going into the comments of Luna Oi's videos commenting racist shit? Is that like the demographic, like the type of content consumer that you think is leaving those types of comments? I assure you it's not.
And it's never ever happened again. Lots of other people have criticized Luna, but those are the only 3 examples. And so something tells me, it's just here, I guess I'll leave it this way. My instinct is there's something going on there. And if you think that matters, I would encourage you to take it seriously and investigate it more on your own and see if you can find out more and just keep that in the back of your mind, I guess, as you move forward when you talk about people who are vulnerable. Now, Luna and I are in our 30s, and we have each other, and we're stable. And the reason I'm not trying to preach at you, but I know that you're aware that there are people out there who are more vulnerable. There are people who are younger. There are people who have mental instability and might be inclined towards self-harm and that sort of thing. So I guess I'm just saying, from one big content creator to the other, it's something that I do is try to be careful about how I cultivate my audience. I try to identify the strengths and strengthen those, and I try to identify weaknesses and negate those as much as possible over time. So I'm not trying to preach at you, but that's something I wanted to make you aware of that's something that I've seen happening personally with Luna's audience. So
I saw that tweet from Luna where she screenshotted some groypers quote tweeting her and said that they were sort of insinuated that was a product of her mentioning or talking with me. I mean, I'm a large content creator. There are people who hate watch me. I also have... oh, wait, hold on. I'm getting some feedback from your end when I talk. Do you know what that might be?
Welcome to capitalism, my dude.
Did it just start? Or
no, it's been happening. It's like a...
Poonhead. Oh, goddamn. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the tier 1 subs. As I watch out of spite, I watch out of spite. Spite for your haters. Based Poonhead. Based Poonhead. Everybody say hi to Poonhead. They're pretty cool.
Sort of static and like a gain pitch, kind of.
Oh, and McGillicuddy. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. I didn't even see that.
Talking.
You're based.
Yeah, okay, wait, I think that did. Yeah, okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah. I saw those screenshots. Oh, people are saying my voice is too loud in your stream. I don't know if that's
probably
the case.
just both problems simultaneously, I think so.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, obviously, as a product of my size, beefing with me is going to cause a lot of engagement, and there might be negative consequences to that for like marginalized people, because I'm broadly known on the right. I don't know if there's a way to directly attribute that to me. I know they're not my audience. I don't think I have a substantial groyper audience in my beck and call. I just don't know if there's anything I can really do about that. Because at that point, it's not even about my community. It's just about the size of my channel and exposure given to people that I disagree with. And we're working off tenuous connections as well. I mean, it could very well be that even if I was perfectly responsible with all my engagement, merely the act of being signal boosted to the level that one is when they engage with me would then increase the likelihood of that kind of negative attention. It feels like the link here is tenuous enough that I don't have a direct control over it, or really even an indirect control.
Let's go.
The only solution would be, I think, to just not ever engage with, positively or negatively, any other figures who are marginalized, which probably wouldn't be good. That doesn't seem like a sustainable solution, I think.
Well, okay, there are a few things there I guess I'll push back a little bit against. So the first thing would be...
A pillow? I'm sorry, I can't shout you out anymore, okay? Because you're POC and you've got a smaller presence, and I've got a lot of hate watchers that could like see me talking to you and then go shit talk you on your channel. I'm afraid. I can't have you on. I can't shout you out anymore. I'm really sorry. I mean, I was hoping that maybe we could have a little bit more diversity in the breadtube sphere. You know, a few black creators that aren't, you know, a few less white dudes. But EJ says no. I'm sorry, guys.
Welcome to capitalism.
You know, every time there are some things you can do. Every time I talk about somebody who I disagree with, who could be receiving that kind of, you know, hate, like I'm very careful to tell my audience, like, do not harass this person, blah blah blah. That will help with your actual audience, your community, the people that you actually like enjoy. But then also you just I don't know, I think you could be more selective about some of the things that you say about certain people, because there have been instances, like with, for instance, when you talked about Luna, I don't think that calling her a useless stepchild of Vietnam, I think that might fan the flames of like racial problems. I'm not saying that you were intentionally
Okay, hold on. Now we're essentializing a criticism specifically focused on and let's be completely real here, the brainwashing that the Vietnamese government does to their people. Like, I mean, like comparing that to like racial, like some kind of racially motivated like criticism kind of is a little bit sus to me. It's a little bit sus.
being racist, that's not the point there, but I think that having that kind of super vitriolic statement could perhaps fan the flames. I think maybe when talking about people in marginalized positions, you could perhaps just stick to the facts and to the ideas more, instead of bringing up the personal vitriolic remarks like that, calling them stupid, using ableist slurs and that sort of thing. I think that might be one way you could kind of control some of that. Do you like completely disown and deny?
I think most governments brainwash, though, right? Yes, absolutely. Even America does this to a startling degree. I mean, like, I've told you guys stories about, like, having to stand for the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance and whatnot in school, and, like, you could literally get sent to the office for refusing if you had, like, a shitty enough teacher. But, like, at least that's how I grew up in the South. But, like, I don't think you guys realize just how fucking nuts it is in Vietnam with that. And don't get me wrong, there is... Vaush never called her that. He called the Vietnamese government that. A clip will come up later showing that. Oh, well, Robin Page, thank you for giving us a little bit more context. An even more unfounded claim from EJ then. I don't like the idea of sort of essentializing criticism of the nation, the government of a nation someone comes from, and, like, attacking their race, right? Because that more or less precludes anybody from a country that has a majority of a certain, like, ethnic population, right? Like, I mean, how many non-POC people who live in Vietnam that shill for the Vietnam government, other than EJ, are there that aren't white, or that are white, you know? Like, I don't know. Yeah. You would never have this issue with, like, America, though, right? Like, if I was criticizing a Canadian, and if I criticized, like, a Canadian liberal for defending the Canadian government, I'd probably never get shit for it. But if I criticize a Vietnamese woman for simping for the Vietnamese government, well, now it's a racial thing. Because we're talking about somebody who's from a nation that their majority of the population is non-white, right? And we're pretty woke here on the left.
Now it's the people who have made racial comments about Luna since you made your stream about her?
Oh, anyone who makes racist comments towards Luna.
I'm sorry, Actual T. Justin Trudeau is a fucking joke.
From it. I'm not a racist, and I don't tolerate racism on any of my platforms. If it really is, like, hate followers.
I could shove Justin Trudeau in a locker, I feel like. I feel like I could probably shove Justin Trudeau in a locker. High school me could have definitely shoved high school Justin Trudeau into a locker. Okay? How tall is he? He doesn't look all that, like, tough, and he doesn't look like he has much constitution, okay? I'm not disagreeing, but leave me out of this. Let's make sure you don't get a knock on your door.
who are watching or simply responding to an increase in visibility, though, nothing I say will change anything. I mean, I could have a positive interaction. In fact, I know this because I have had positive engagements with people, marginalized people, either race, gender, sexuality, who then got harassment after talking with me, not just from the rest of the left for deigning to talk with me, of course, but just as a product of being made
boxer,
visible,
dude?
you know? So if that is
jiu-jitsu.
the group responsible predominantly for the real vitriol, I don't think there's anything I could do other than be silent.
Somniostatic, I sort of watched Damon Mama's coverage of this debate, but for one, it was covered entirely in GIFs, and I had the debate muted. I had the stream muted, and was just like, I was talking in Discord to somebody with the stream open on the website, with the stream muted, just looking at all the crazy GIFs. And,
Welcome to capitalism, my dude.
whether or not I'm actually autistic, I don't know, but I definitely have a lot of things in common with autistic individuals, and one of them is being able to sit there while talking to somebody and looking for 2 hours straight at a screen with no noise coming from it. It's just a bunch of, like, replaying GIFs. And that's enough to just keep me, like... it's like a Where's Waldo page. I was just looking at all the memes and GIFs the whole time. Yeah, that's more or less enough to keep my brain occupied.
In terms of like harassment from my community, like the tone that I set, I'm okay with it. I'm generally quite mean to conservatives or people that I don't like. I think that's okay. I think that the
What is this, Poe? You got a spicy meme for me? Holy shit! Wait, that's real. I don't know. Maybe I don't know, because like here's the thing though, boxing isn't very useful against somebody who's good at jiu-jitsu. But like it's like a rock paper scissors type situation, right? Like if he doesn't know how to grapple, then I think I could definitely get him because I'm good at grappling. I can grapple pretty well. I've never done much boxing. Like the most boxing I did was just like the basic sparring practice that we did on like Thursdays at the gym when I did jiu-jitsu. Thursdays were specifically for sparring practice, and that was literally like we're putting on boxing gloves. We're putting on MMA. We're putting on MMA gloves. We're putting on like guards and shit, and then we're practicing like jabs and knees and shit like that. Just actual like punching. You sound less confident. I think I could take him in grappling. Okay, I don't know if he's aware, if he knows how to grapple. I could take him in grappling, I bet. I could probably get him in a rear naked choke if I had his back. But maybe he could fuck me up. If he knows boxing, then he could probably fuck me up in sparring, 100%. Yeah, I don't know how to box. Not that well, at least. I can do, like, a decent jab or a hook or a knee, but, like, yeah. That'd be a hate crime. Trudeau is black. That is true. Justin Trudeau does have the African warrior gene. That may give him some level of, advantage in our fight. Oh God, that one will get me canceled. That's also probably one of the funniest jokes I've made on my stream. That was simultaneously probably the funniest joke I made on my stream and possibly one of the most cancelable.
the vitriol is sort of an essential
You
component.
don't think that when you said that Luna's
He
a
beat
useless
this guy in boxing. Well, okay then, Poe. Let's try it again. Nope. All right, well.
stepchild of Vietnam, that could, even if you didn't intend for it to have racial undertones, right? Because intention here doesn't matter.
Looks like he beat the URL.
It's the outcomes that matter. You don't think that that's the kind of thing that can stoke racially charged responses?
What part of
from
Africa
people?
does
Or
that even
encourage-
come from?
You can get that
Alberta.
from criticizing China too, right? Like I hate China, but if you talk about that long enough, folks who are actually racist are going to catch on.
You
There's
can
only
talk
so
about
much
how
you
you
can do
hate
about
China
that.
without calling somebody a useless stepchild of China, for instance. You know, I mean, like
If
that's
they
a
were
weird
if they were a
thing to say about
Chinese if they were a Chinese
What does that even
nationalist,
mean, a useless stepchild of Vietnam? I don't really understand what you're trying to say there.
oh, I don't know. I threw out probably like 100 or 200 insults. I don't even remember the one you're saying right now. I'm sure
So
in
yeah, the fact
context
that
it was
you don't
very
remember
funny.
what you said tells me you weren't being too careful when you talked about her as an individual. Like,
Well, I
maybe
can't
you forgot
remember
what
every
she-
I can't
what I'm-
remember every insult I deliver over a whole stream. I mean, that's hours every day I'd have to log. I don't have that much storage space in my head.
I don't know. I think you could be careful. I think you could be more careful about how you talk about
Well, I
other
don't,
people. But
well,
okay.
what you've said there.
I think this is going nowhere.
Oh my God, dude. People take this internet shit way too seriously, okay? They really do. At the end of the day, we are all just a bunch of fucking normal people on the internet talking about politics, okay? None of us are academics unless we have some level of experience outside of the of like YouTube, right? Like if you're going to college and you're pursuing another career and doing YouTube, if you're a full-time streamer, and political content creator. You're not an academic. None of us are claiming to be academics, as far as I know. We like you're. I feel like people online, especially in this whole debate political sphere, hold themselves and others to way too high of a standard. We're a bunch of dumb fucks on computers yelling at each other online and making YouTube videos for people to be entertained by, okay? We are not at all. We're just, we're like, I don't know. Like, people just take it way too fucking seriously. Fuck, if he beat that guy, that's pretty impressive. Was he pulling his punches, though? Was this guy Canadian? Was he doing it because... Was he pulling his punches in order to allow the president to win? Or the whatever he is to win? I don't know how Canadian government works. Either way, though, grappling is different than boxing, okay? If you know jiu-jitsu good enough, it doesn't matter how big your opponent is. I mean, you can choke him out. Like, no amount of muscle can protect your elbow from being dislocated by an arm bar or your trachea from being collapsed by a rear naked choke, okay? Or your shoulder from getting dislocated by fuck, I forgot the name of the move. God damn it, Zan, it's Prime Minister. Basically the same thing.
So,
well, I just want to say, what you
British?
said there, that doesn't cross my threshold for irresponsible treatment. I mean, obviously, and I'm not, this isn't an effort to poison the well. Obviously, you have a closer relationship with Luna than I do. That's kind of an
I
understatement.
do recognize that she's a person. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
part of being, you know.
Right. Well, we're going to have different perspectives on an acceptable level of vitriol towards people that you don't like. I guess the thing that always weirds me out a little bit is I'm very mean to conservatives on my channel. Nobody seems to mind that much. But then when there are people on the left who have ideas that I think are just as pernicious, you know, all of a sudden, people, you know, they get very up in arms about it. I don't understand.
This is true of me and Vaush and like everybody who does what we do. When we go hard on conservatives, we go fucking hard. And we go ruthless, okay? When we go against conservatives. When we go up against other leftists or like progressives, unless there's some personal drama fueling the fire, usually the level of vitriol you would see from us towards someone who's on the left that we disagree with is usually proportional to what they've done to warrant any level of response, or is just a vitriol born out of disappointment rather than a hatred for someone's political beliefs. It's usually like, I'm so frustrated with this movement, with these people that are acting insane that I agree with politically, and it's making me angry. It's more of like the way that I talk about like woke scolds, for example, is more of like a disappointed dad. When I talk about Nazis, it's more like I'm just shit talking them and insulting them. I don't give a fuck about them unless, you know, they can be reached and made, you know, into not terrible people again. You know what I mean?
And the double standard, personally. I think that it's...
I can't speak to that because I don't have enough insight into or optics into that. So,
Well, do you think it's okay if I was... I'm just asking because I just want to know if it's a broad opposition or if there's kind of like a specific favoritism here. If I was doing a video on, like, I don't know, Ben Shapiro, and I was just throwing them out there, you know, all the insults, nothing anti-Semitic or whatever, but, you know, just insults. Do you think there's an issue with that vitriol, or do you think that's a fine thing
if it's motivated by things like race or being trans or whatever, then of course there's a problem. Even if, like, for instance, like, you know, like if there's if you're debating a conservative who was gay, and then you made some kind of comment that could be construed as referencing their sexuality. I'm not saying you did that. I'm speaking hypothetically. And then that person got harassed for being gay, even if they're conservative, I certainly wouldn't say that that's acceptable. You know what I'm saying? And I think that I'm saying you. I'm just saying the hypothetical you. A person who did that would have to take responsibility for the role that they played in that. And I think that when you're putting out insults, you need to be thinking about the potential ripple effects that the words you use can have when you're talking to thousands of people.
Well, I think the ripple effect is, I suppose I dislike her, and I'm okay with people in my audience disliking her. But if the racial comments, like the racism.
The far right is winning because while we're yelling at each other on YouTube, right-wingers are taking over school boards. All right. Robin Page, I understand where you're coming from, and I agree that there is a problem with the left not acting as aggressive as the right does. I think the left is way too attached, or at least Democrats, like the left in America, like the actual, like, politically effective left, which is basically like liberal Democrat, like kind of neo-lib type deal. Those are the people who are like in America that are probably having the most substantial progressive change, because that's the party line to toe if you're the one progressive party in America that actually has a chance. People like me and Vaush and EJ and Destiny and stuff, like, we're not the type of people on the left who need to be, like, taking over the school board, okay? Like, I'm sorry. Me and Vaush have way too much dirt on both of us to ever run for any type of office or anything like that. The most I can ever aspire to, as far as politics is concerned, is maybe, like, either a massive job, like just massive YouTuber or streamer, like Hassan size or bigger, or like this career somehow transferring me to like a desk job at like CNN or maybe like the Young Turks. I would absolutely I mean, I live close to LA. I could totally like literally work for the Young Turks and be in office. Like I could theoretically do that. Do you think if I applied to join the Young Turks, they'd hire me? Like, I do have like 63,000 subs on my left-wing YouTube channel. I feel like that's pretty decent to have on your resume to join the Young Turks. Like, something like that would be like a pretty like reasonable like possibility that I could follow,
Is really coming from like the Groyper hate followers. I just don't think there's a relationship between the language that I use, this language at least, which is I don't think racialized, and the outcomes.
Like the majority
Hold
report,
on, somebody linked the stepchild thing. I just want to hear it. It's 6 seconds.
The majority report would be even easier because that's all done remote. I don't even think like most of the people that are on the majority report aren't even in a physical studio. Like mostly it's like they're like Sam Cedars, like they're in the studio, and then like everybody else is on Zoom or they're in like a video call,
Government has produced little fucking stepchild bastard children like Luna Oi here. Yeah, the modern Vietnamese government has produced. Oh yeah, it's a comment on Vietnamese education producing like nationalist defenders. Yeah, so that would be like the stepchild comment.
What is the stepchild connection there?
Well, like
that she's someone who's older than you. I mean, I don't understand why you keep calling her a child, and it seems kind of like overly demeaning. I don't know what basis you have for that.
I'm okay with being demeaning. With the stepchild thing, when I think of like, it was like the redheaded stepchild kind of thing, like the idea that like a bunch of like sort of children running around, it's like 20 of them, and you can remember the names of 16 or so. I think it's a salient critique of the way governments will sort of indoctrinate their constituents.
Did you not have made that point? Knowing what you know and knowing and conscious.
My mom used to say when I was a kid that she was gonna beat me like a redheaded stepchild. That was her like catchphrase. That's where I learned that phrase from. Redheaded stepchild was my mom saying that.
Of the way that certain people that watch your show, could you just not have made that point with a little bit less personal vitriol? I guess I just don't understand the.
But I'm okay with the vitriol.
I talk to people all the time that I don't like, but I don't.
That's a common saying, I imagine. Yeah,
I'm okay with the vitriol. Also, to be fair, I'm pretty sure Luna's been quite vitriolic to me for a while. Not to say it's not.
About you for months on end until you decide to do another stream about her. That's something I can tell you for sure.
Oh, sure. Not to say it's not mutual.
Go around talking about you all the time. It's always in self-defense. I mean, I have to say that I'm very keen on that.
I think there was at least one time she started something, but it doesn't matter. I'm not. This isn't like a who started it type thing.
No. I mean, maybe. There's a certain point where I feel like just being aware of someone's political opinions in and of itself kind of acts as like a warranty to like start beef. Like, for example, do you guys think I need a reason to start beef with a Nazi on Twitter? Like, I'll just start beef with a Nazi on Twitter just because, right? Like, why would none of you would ever question that? None of you would say, Zan, why are you going so hard on this Nazi guy? He didn't do it. He didn't say or do anything to you. You just kind of exploded on him. Like, none of you guys would say anything like that. So, I ask you guys the question, why should Vaush act any differently when dealing with red fash? Tankies.
That I think the vitriol certainly is mutual. I don't see an issue with being vitriolic. It's fine. If anything, I'm working on maybe trying to be a little more vitriolic. I feel like the left online gives way too much of a pass to certain types of ideas, some types of nationalism.
Why do you think that is beneficial? I mean, what do you think what end does that serve? I don't get it. I don't understand how calling somebody a useless stepchild of Vietnam serves any purpose.
It's part of a broader bit on the nationalism thing, but anti-nationalism is
I'm actually going to start getting more meta with my arguments, okay? I feel like too many lefty debaters and just right-wing debaters as well, like, almost play a character without realizing it. Because, like, they both pretend while the debate's going on that the debate is more, like, matters more than it does, okay? Something that's helped me a lot with my debate performance is constantly reminding myself I'm just some dude on the internet talking to some other dude on the internet while a bunch of other people on the internet watch. This is not high stakes. My life will not end if I do poorly in this debate. Maybe people will make fun of me a little bit, but it's going to pass. People will forget about it. Like, I feel like getting more meta with debates and, like, when people are, like, freaking out and take themselves too seriously, or acting as though they have more credibility than they do, pointing out, dude, we're both guys who upload videos on the internet. Let's not pretend like we and either of us have the authority to make decisions on insert topic, right? Because I derive my positions from, like, experts on any given subject that have collected data or have done something that warrants some credibility being given to their opinion. That's where I derive my opinions, and my opinions will change and morph if new information or new evidence comes out that, debunks a certain thing I previously believed. But the problem, I think, that I have with a lot of these tanky types... I'm sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. Wow, I need to stop. Listen, guys, one day I'm going to get on the ADHD medication and I'm going to stop losing my train of thought all the time. It happens at least 3 times a day. I'll be, like, telling a story and I'll just lose it. It happens all the fucking time. Zan, are you okay? I think I have, like, it's something that's always happened in my life. Runaway train, yeah, that's the term. It's something that's always happened to me. I think I've already made an appointment with a therapist around in my area. He specializes in the particular things that I've been having issue with: sleep problems, occasional sort of random depression, and ADHD is what I suspect I might have, and he specializes in that. So I'm gonna let a doctor give me his professional opinion and take whatever he has me take, and ideally, that will result in my streams getting a lot better. Magos Stonks, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Says, feel as one of the oldest Zoomers, I should give my support to the best Zoomer online. Thank you, Magos Stonks. You are also a based Zoomer, and I really appreciate that. Thank you for the $5. Hell yeah. Okay, let's resume.
A strong component of
like if you said Luna's a rabid nationalist or something, then like that.
Oh yeah. You were talking about how you learned to be more chill during debates, i.e., you remember they're just a person on the internet, and then you moved into Red Fash, and I assume you were about to get into why you dislike them taking themselves too seriously. Yeah. So, like, with a lot of these figures that I've talked to, whether it be tankies or Nazis, conservatives, or even liberals, I feel like they take themselves so seriously. Or I guess during the moment, like, the heatedness of the debate makes them forget that at the end of the day, we are just people on the internet. So something I'm going to start doing more often, and I did this during my Sean Last debate, and it was very effective. You guys probably remember when Sean Last started denying the credibility of the studies that I was throwing his way that validate the identity of trans people, and he started saying that, like, well, how do you know that these institutions weren't biased or manipulated? Oh, sociologists don't even know basic data collection terms. It's actually a very well-known thing in the academic space. Just pulling shit out of his ass. I called him out, and I said, dude, don't act like you're an academic and you have anywhere near the credibility to make the claims that you're making right now. I'm deriving my opinions from actual facts and studies. You're pulling this shit out of your ass. We're both guys on the internet. Like, you guys probably remember I did that, and I think it was pretty effective. I'm going to start doing it a lot more. I think I'm going to do it more. I think it's a good idea.
That would have a connection to what you're saying. I don't understand it. I don't see this. I don't feel like this conversation is going anywhere. I don't think that you're. I don't think you get what I'm saying. So
no, I understand what you're saying. You're saying that I was too mean. I just don't mind being
anybody
mean.
really.
It's not about me. And I'm using the personal situation of Luna because I'm familiar with that. But there have been a number of people have come forward and said that after you talked about them on stream, they got a lot of hate. And I'm just saying that if that were me and that were my audience and that were my platform, and somebody was saying that, I would take it very seriously and I would work very hard to do everything I could to decrease that as much as possible. No, you're saying that you want to go forward and be more vitriolic towards.
Well, the thing is,
we're talking about people of color, transphobic people, trans people, gay people, whatever. You're saying you want to be more vitriolic to people who you disagree with, who are marginalized, not less vitriolic.
The main thing is that I do take it seriously, and having taken it,
dude, I think unironically, a significant amount of leftists unironically believe that morally, if you like went on the street and punched the first person you saw in the face, if you punched the white guy in the face and that was the first person you saw, they would consider that less bad than if the person you happened to punch in the face was black. I genuinely feel like lefties believe online right now, it's like unironically that your race can be a shield, or that like if you attack someone because of their like and they have a certain identity, you must be doing it because of that identity, or just the fact they have that identity makes it wrong or makes you transphobic, racist, etc., etc., etc. Show me one time any criticism any of us have levied at, say, a woke scold has been like predicated on the fact that they're trans or LGBT or POC or anything like that. Name one time. Not once. Why? It's about the arguments. It's about the things people say and the dumb shit that people do. That's what I take issue with. That's what I have a problem with. I don't give a shit what identity you have. If you throw stones at me or you say some dumb shit, I'm going to call you out, okay? You called me the T-slur that one time? That is a lie, Crafter Lula.
Seriously, I've only found evidence to take it less seriously. Because this has happened before, this basic pattern.
Have I even ever said the T-slur?
I have mods, I have a team.
It is a pattern of behavior.
I have a crack team, you know. And this always gets looked into.
I might have read a quote once. I did. I think maybe once, but other than that, I feel like the T-slur is probably a slur I've probably said the least because I learned about it when I was already woke, you know? Like, I became woke, like I was getting woke, and then I discovered the T-slur and that it was bad, and that's how I learned of it, and so it's just, like, not a word that I use. No, you said it. The only time I think I could have said it was when there was a particular YouTuber who's a true scum YouTuber who goes by the name, I shit you not, The Offensive T-slur. And I believe I might have actually said their name, like their actual name. Like, this was back in like 2019. That might have been it, I think. Yeah, I that might have been the one case where I did. Cringe? I mean, that's one of the most defensible cases for saying a slur is when you're reading a quote or a name. Like, that's probably the least yikes for worthy like context, right? Besides acting, okay? I think acting is by far the most excusable context, right? If you're playing a character in a movie or something, obviously it's fine, right? Like, depending on the movie, of course, right? If it's why Hitler was good for, then maybe not that movie, but like, you know, if it's a movie about like slavery, then you know it's fine. Is my name a slur? No, T. It's okay. It's the T slur is just T, the letter T, and then slur.
Never find evidence of real harassment. Either it's just people being mean to them, which again I'm totally okay with, and I don't think that's.
What do you consider? I mean, like I don't know. What you don't think that if somebody's if a bunch of people are coming forward and it seems like a pattern of behavior, because you said it's a pattern of behavior and you're having to investigate it all the time. I mean, I don't have this problem. I don't have to go out launching investigations with like a crack mod NSA team to go do like investigations, because I'm not constantly hearing from people that when I talk about them on stream that they're getting a bunch of harassment over race and gender and sexuality and that kind of thing. But that's what I'm hearing people say about your audience. So what's the? I don't know the difference between my.
Wait, hold on. Somebody just linked a tweet where Luna is essentially calling me a pedophile. I think I'm okay with the meme. I usually try to proportion it to my dislike for people.
Okay. I'm calling this out right now because this is something that's way too fucking enabled on the left, okay? So many fucking people will just look at the surface level interaction between somebody or between two people in this space and then immediately decide who they think is in the right without giving a shit about the context of the situation, and it happens all the fucking time. And it always ends up bad, and you end up just enabling this type of shit. So I'm willing to bet EJ didn't know about this tweet. Even though Luna Oi is his wife, I'm willing to bet EJ probably didn't know about this tweet, and I feel like he just got blindsided by it. But this right here is an example of EJ just was not informed on the actual interaction that had occurred. And this is important. There's a huge difference There is a massive difference between Vaush was vitriolic towards Luna Oi because he disagrees with her politically and and decided to just come out of nowhere and drop like the hammer. There's a big difference between that and Vaush retaliated against someone falsely calling him a pedophile. All right, once someone starts throwing pedophilia allegations at you and you're an online figure, that's no holds barred, okay? When you're a public figure on the internet, the P word, getting called the fucking P word, that shit can be career ending, depending on like who says it and the context of how they say it. That is like, those are like, it's fight to the death on Twitter now, okay? Once you start throwing that insult around, okay?
I feel like
I know
Luna,
the tweet you're talking about. Do you want to read the tweet and tell me exactly what it says?
Vaush gets kicked off of platforms for saying cracker, but not for saying pedophilia can be good for children. Sick fucking world.
Which is an exact quote that you said.
No, it's not.
You play the video that it's linked to. Tell me that it's not
The
a
video
direct
cuts
quote.
me off mid-sentence. It literally
I
cuts
didn't
me off
cut
in
you
between.
You did say that, though. She referenced something you actually said.
It is possible.
Hold on.
You could defend yourself and say that that was taken out of context or whatever, but she didn't call you a pedophile, and she was referencing something you actually said, which is a different situation than being vitriolic towards people for absolutely no reason.
So do you think
whatsoever.
that signal boosting misinformation with the intent of sort of painting a person as a pedophile?
Dude, Vaush, I love you, buddy, but you gotta be so careful. Literally everybody on the internet is just sitting there with OBS open, trying to find some way to do. You guys remember that one live action Scooby-Doo movie, and it's the scene where like the news station is like cutting up Fred's words to mean like just literally nothing close to what he actually said. Like we're getting to the stage where like that's the kind of shit people are constantly hovering there trying to do, and while they are fucked up about it, you do have to eventually be like, all right, it's time to maybe not talk about Coolsville, you know? Like for me, there are no clips out there as far as I'm aware that anybody could use, even like if they're clipping it up dishonestly to make me look like a pedophile or anything like that, which is good because I'm very careful about what I say and make sure nothing gets like misinterpreted on my part. Obviously, what Vaush was doing was pointing out like a very interesting moral gray area in our society, or not a moral gray area, but almost a moral hypocrisy that we're kind of all okay with for very emotional reasons. Not that it's wrong, like that it's emotional. It is probably a good thing that we're so emotional about it. We need to protect children. But it's worth talking about that. But unfortunately, you just can't do that on the internet. You can't have those conversations online. People are too quick on the trigger. People are just too damn quick on the trigger, and they'll make assumptions about you. And there are people acting in bad faith that'll do really fucked up things to try to misrepresent what you actually believe or who you actually are.
Isn't like it's interesting that you would take issue with.
This stream is way more interesting than Vaush's right now. Gray Sand Dragon, Gray Sand Dragon, that is always true. My stream is always way more interesting than Vaush's. People just haven't realized it yet. But don't worry. If you like the stream and subscribe, as I grow and surpass everybody who came before and after me, and reach the #1 spot as the most subscribed YouTuber on the planet, you can say that you subscribed before I even hit 100,000 subs. All right? Whether you join or not, that's still happening. But the difference is, you'll be able to brag that you followed me before I even hit 100,000 subs. Before I even hit 1 billion subs, okay? But you would be able to brag about subscribing to Xanderhall before he hit 1 billion subs. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Saying a person's a stepchild of the country that they're from, but the idea of like signal boosting, disingenuous, far right, pedo jacketing, that was literally cut off mid-sentence isn't itself bad faith or disingenuous. Like, that's really weird to me. I don't understand. Is it like a perceived vulnerability thing because my community is
there is a power differential, for one thing. That is true. But also, that's not the only thing. The other thing is, she wasn't just talking about you. She was talking about the way platforms work. I think that you would agree that getting kicked off for saying cracker was ridiculous, right? Do you agree with that?
I would agree that calling me a pedophile is being vitriolic. I don't think there's any working around that.
He didn't call you a pedophile. She didn't call you a pedophile.
EJ. Is he dumb or is he being dishonest? It's really hard to tell. Like, how do you not have... How old is EJ? He's been on the internet for a long... He's got gray in his beard. He's got gray in his facial hair. There is a decent amount of gray that I see in his hair. And unless he's dyeing it like that, then he's on the older side of things, okay? He said he's in his 30s, and he's already going... I mean, yeah, I guess you get gray hairs in your 30s. Yeah. Okay, he's in his 30s. He has been on the internet long enough to know that even saying a public figure's name... and even having that name anywhere close to pedophilia, anywhere close to that, you might as well just say that figure's a pedophile. That's how the internet works, okay? It's called telephone, okay? It's called abstraction. It's how the internet works. If you say this person, if you tweet, like, you could start with, yeah, Vaush said poorly worded a... moral comparison between the exploitation of children in sweatshops that produce a certain, thing that we consume in our society that we're totally cool with. We're totally fine with children being exploited there. We're totally fine consuming those products, and we're totally cool. It's all good. But we've got a very emotional response to CP, which is a good thing because we want to protect children, of course. I mean, that's how society functions. We have to protect our children, especially from people that would, violate them. And you want to have that conversation, but the internet's just not capable of it, okay? The internet will abstract everything. It's telephone.
Non-compete.
The worst game of telephone.
Come on.
Did it? She said that she thinks that what you said in that clip is worse than saying cracker.
I mean, if you cut together a bunch of words spliced from different streams and arranged them in a way to implicate me, and then looked at that and said, huh, look at that, that's interesting. That wouldn't technically be calling me.
I don't know what to say. I can just tell you that there's a difference between quoting what somebody actually said in a specific context when you're commenting on a platform versus...
Oh my god. Holy shit. Devin Takar in Vaush's chat is spot on. This is the Mexi convo all over again. I fucking watched the Mexi convo. I'm pretty sure Vaush unlisted that stream afterwards because she asked him not to upload it because it was so embarrassing for her. She basically just made Mexi. Do you not know who Mexi is? Mexi is a lefty YouTuber, and basically she went on Vaush's stream back in I lived in Florida. I remember I listened to the stream on my phone while picking weeds in the yard because I needed something to listen to while doing yard work, and I lived in Florida. So it was either 2019, it would have been 2020 probably, early 2020. Yeah, that conversation was embarrassing. She basically spent the whole time literally doing abuse, literally abuse apologia, as long as the people doing the abusive behavior are part of a marginalized group. And she looked really bad afterwards and asked Vaush to not upload it. I wonder if it's still on the internet somewhere. If you can find it, I highly recommend it. Oh, so Professor Flowers? Professor Flowers, if Professor Flowers wasn't as slippery as she is. Professor Flowers is very slippery and is very good at manipulating an audience and sort of, playing the victim. Mexi didn't do a very good job of that and just came off as
Welcome to capitalism, my dude.
So kind of she's so dumb that she's advocating for abuse, abusive behavior. I don't think she stands by what she said, though, considering the fact she had Vaush take the debate down. I imagine she probably changed her mind following that. So, yeah. Though I will say Mexi doesn't follow me on Twitter, and that is an indication that somebody is probably not good, okay? If someone doesn't like me, then they're probably cringe, all right? I don't know why, but that's usually been a barometer that I've followed my whole life, and it's never steered me wrong. It has yet to steer me wrong. Crafter Lula, thank you for the Tier 3 gifted sub to Josh Kiss. Thank you. This is a tip for being such a long-time viewer. Wait, Crafter Lula, how much was that? That was a Tier 3. Thank you so much. 20? Ah, thank you. Wow, you guys are really being generous today. We're at 332. On the total goal. Not 332 made today, but combined yesterday and today, 332.
It's not
somebody
actually
a
quoting me,
useless stepchild
though.
of Vietnam.
It's not quoting
Which is
me.
really just an insult based on the fact that she's Vietnamese. That's the only tangible piece of evidence about her identity that you addressed, or even you didn't address her positions. You addressed like you didn't call her a nationalist. You called her a stepchild of Vietnam.
In a section
it's
where I was
by the fact
so,
that she's
hold
Vietnamese.
on. This would be a lot easier for you if you didn't form your opinions based exclusively off the Twitter clips. In the whole video,
I
where
don't have an opinion about whether or not you're a
find
pedophile, Vaush.
the section.
I
No,
don't.
I'm talking about the stepchild thing. I have an opinion on whether or not I'm a pedophile, and it's that the people who go out of their way to call me one because they can't address my real arguments are bottom-feeding scum. And I really like the idea that
Okay,
you would
but she
complain.
did address
Wait,
real
hold on,
arguments.
hold on. The idea that
All
people would complain about vitriol. I mean, not even about like the arguments used, right? But like in terms of vitriol. And what? Because I made a joke about her being a nationalist? Like, is stepchild like a slur now? This concern totally me. I don't get
Vietnam,
it.
you did mention her nationality, which is I don't know her
Yeah.
ethnicity.
Yep, literally, it's if you mention nationality only matters if it's somebody who's from a country that has a majority non-white population, okay? It's like, in any other context, criticism of someone for simping for the government wouldn't be a problem, but it's because she's Vietnamese and it's the Vietnamese government, now it's got to be a racial thing.
I think she's a Vietnamese nationalist. Yes, stepchild of Vietnamese propagandizing education. Sure, yeah. It's fine. I don't even think that's particularly vitriolic. I'm pretty sure I said worse stuff.
All right, we're really just going around in circles now. So I don't know. I have nothing else to say about this. Do you have anything else to say?
No, I suppose
think
not.
that- Okay.
And the debate ended, and they lived happily ever after.
Do you want to talk about anything? I have a few other questions. I could
Yeah,
ask.
well, yeah, there were three topics that you mentioned. Hold on, I didn't have the email up. Well, you said the first one was on targeting
The good
marginalized
ending.
people. And the second one was a perceived lack of understanding of Luna's video and of dialectical materialism. And then the third one was the dishonest rhetorical tricks I use in my discussions. And I'm happy to talk about either or both, if you'd like.
Okay. So I think that in your video, so specifically just focusing on the stream you had about Luna, now because you said that, people that don't address their opinions, your actual positions. I feel like you spent 2 hours, you call people who don't address your actual positions bottom feeding scum. You spent
And call
2
me
hours.
pedophiles. That's the part that
I believe the same thing of people who do that to me, yes. Bottom-feeding scum. Scum of the earth, yes.
Categorically, Luna did not call you a pedophile. She quoted something that you said,
Wasn't
and
a quote.
I do happen to agree. I don't think there's any situation where an adult can have a sexual relationship with a child.
Outside of this drama, do you consider you can't really blame people living under the CCP rule for simping for their government when their government can literally make them disappear? Did you mean CCP? Because I don't think the CCP is that yeah, I think you might be misspeaking there. Am I wrong? I think they meant the Vietnamese. Yeah, I was about to say that's the CCP is not the Vietnamese government. I think. Well, sus.
And it has a positive outcome. So
if you had actually
do
seen
disagree.
the full bit that was clipped from, then
I
you
saw
would
it.
agree.
CCP's
You saw the full
China,
bit, not
not
just
Vietnam.
the Twitter bit, but the full thing.
It
in which I
stands
was
for
your
Chinese
constructing the
Communist
rules.
Party.
foundation was that there can be some situations where an adult and a child can have positive outcomes. You didn't say. Anyway, it's totally
So,
immaterial.
no, it's important.
Well, Vaush and Zan simp for the U.S. government. Does that make them nationalists? I don't simp. Nobody on what? Simp for the U.S. government? Oh wait, you've got to be a troll, right? Did you just make an account? I bet that account is like an hour old. Hold on. How much do you want to bet that account is an hour old? Hold up. Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. Yep. Made on January 11th, 2022. Made today. Go ahead and drop that ban hammer. Go ahead and drop that ban hammer right there. Hell yeah. Show us the logs. Well, the logs are right there in the little link there.
Important. So, in a consequentialist sense, you can easily construct a situation where essentially anything is fine. Here, I'll ask you. Just follow through with me. 30 seconds.
No, I
then
don't.
we're done.
I'm not an idealist. I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals that don't have any bearing on material reality.
That is. Wait. Hold on. Wait.
225 viewers, right? By the way, and it's been steadily just kind of hovering between 225 and 250 for a while. Pretty fucking based for one streaming at the same time as both, I believe, both Demon Mama and Vaush, and it just being a debate review. You know, which isn't like necessarily the biggest like content that's gonna bring in clicks. The channel's been doing like a lot better lately, like especially since New Year's. DM isn't live. Oh, okay, well, still. Especially since New Year's, January is a bad month for everyone, but this month has been uncharacteristically good when compared to other months. So I'm really excited to see what happens when January, which is just the worst month for YouTubers, is over. And we get a little further in the year, because viewership's been going up, watch time's been going up, sub growth has been going up as well. I still stand by that I believe BreadTube is dying. Or I should argue that BreadTube is going into hibernation, is a better way to put it. In the same way the skeptic community kind of went into hibernation, less so than died. I think that COVID spikes plus Jan 6th. Nah, I haven't done anything involving Jan 6th. I guess maybe the fact that it's been 1 year since Jan 6th might have gotten some people to be like, I should watch some of those political YouTubers I used to watch back when the election was going on. But I don't think that's what it is. Honestly, I'm only here today because NonCompete was so fucking dumb. I'm fascinated. Well, Noah Horny, you should stick around for more of my streams. I'm a funny guy, and I've been doing a lot of really interesting content lately. I'll take a break right now, just for about 30 seconds, to go ahead and give you guys a rundown of things I plan to do this year. For the year of for the year of 2022, I want to focus really hard on trying to innovate on whole new subgenres of content. Obviously, I've kind of invented the leftist debating Nazis on Omegle genre. Schwanhead says she might be streaming some of doing that, and that she'll give me credit for the idea. Vaush's editors are trying to get him to start doing it as well, because they think it'll be good content. I think Demon Mama might even do the same. So I think I might have been a trendsetter there. It looks like a lot of people are going to be following my lead there with the Omegle stuff. So already, just 11 days into the year, and we're already a trendsetter. So that's pretty fucking dope. But we're not stopping at the Omegle shit. I'm going to be trying to do some debates with Nazis and stuff like Nazis, and probably a lot of pedophiles and Nazi pedophiles in VR chat. That's going to be next. When we do the VR chat Nazi debate live streams, that's going to be the great fucking content. I guarantee that shit's going to go hard, okay? Because imagine me. I'm in VR, okay? I'm wearing a VR helmet, and standing in front of me is a Nazi in a lolly skin. And I'm debating this Nazi, okay? Tell me that won't be some fucking phenomenal content.
Hold on. But wait, hold on. Wait. First of all, we're not talking
hypothetical situations where adults can molest children and it has a positive outcome.
You're the one talking. Wait, hold on. First of all, Marx was a philosopher. It's not idealism. Wait, no, hold on. Wait, you can't move away from this. Okay, hold on. I'm not letting you paint me like this and then run the fuck away.
Wait, NonCompete actually thinks that being able to... Does NonCompete actually think that he shouldn't be able to defend his moral system in a hypothetical? Is he arguing that being able to defend your moral system in a hypothetical isn't a good thing? Because that's more or less like the basis of everything you need to be able to do for debate. Like, if you can't engage with hypotheticals, you can't debate. You just can't do it. You will literally be destroyed in every debate. Literally everything comes down to hypotheticals, because every political topic is so charged, so emotionally charged, that in order to get somebody to let go of their preconceived biases, you have to compare it to a non-political issue, and that's what you do with a hypothetical. Compare it to a non-political issue with an analogy, or give a hypothetical scenario, something that will allow them to see the issue outside of their already preconceived political biases. That is why hypotheticals are so important in debate, and why it's so fucking stupid that EJ seems to be against the idea of his morals being able to hold up to one. Hey, Ethan. Are you hopping in? Are you joining me yet? Because it's getting spicy. We're getting to the pedophile accusations now. By the way, Puffle Kicks, thanks for the tier 1 gift sub to Noah Horny. Thanks for the $5. You are poggers. Xander Hall, inability to engage in hypotheticals shows a lack of critical thinking. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Hold on. Wait, you have to stop talking for 1 second, okay? Hold on. So imagine, all right? Imagine aliens come down to Earth, and they say...
This is absolutely ridiculous, Vaush.
You've lasted 6 seconds so far, okay?
Imagine aliens. This is as hypothetical idealism as you can get. You're literally just like...
You're like a honeymoon virgin. You gotta last longer than 6 seconds. Just give me a second, okay? Did I not let you talk for a long...
That was pretty fucking good. That was pretty fucking good.
Time when you were establishing your premises? Come on.
I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals with you.
You don't have to.
Then
You don't have to talk. You just have to listen. You just have to listen. Okay. Now you can imagine a situation in which aliens come down to Earth and they say, "We're going to blow up the whole planet unless you kill this innocent kid." Now, in a consequentialist sense, killing that innocent kid. Right, I know, right? So follow through. Follow through. So in a consequentialist.
Okay. If your response to let's talk about a hypothetical scenario, if your response to like the hypothetical being wild in its premise is you just start laughing, to start smuggling. Hold on. Demon Mama, I think, well, I don't know if Demon Mama invented the word, but I heard it from her. Demon Mama taught me a word called smuckle. All right? SMUCKL. It's a mix of smug and chuckle. It's when you smugly chuckle dishonestly. It's a DM meme. She invented it. Yeah, Demon Mama invented this word. It's when you smugly begin chuckling as sort of a rhetorical tactic to make it seem as though you are so much higher above your debate opponent, and the premise that they just presented to you is so below your consideration that you can only chuckle at it with a smug smile, with a DreamWorks smile on your face. Yeah, he's doing the smuckle. He's doing the Sargon smuckle.
In a consequential, I know an inability to grasp philosophy is one of my biggest issues with Luna. It makes sense that we would apply to both of you. That's not what this philosophy and I.
The right literally capitalized on the left's inability to substantiate their arguments, and now EJ is doing the same shit. The video is going out on my channel in the next couple days, and it is going to do very, very well. It's probably going to get a lot of views, and I highly recommend you all watch it. For those of you that were in my last stream where I did the live streamed the segment, yeah, you watch the stream, so you know, yeah. Mark my words, every single day I become more confident that my predictions are correct. Every single day it seems like more of the cogs that need to fall into place to make that future happen are falling into place. Like, it's hard to get into. Like, obviously there's the stuff going on with like critical race theory, cancel culture, the vaccines, and just these and all that kind of shit being over sensationalized to the same extent that PC culture and like pronouns and stuff like that and misgendering and feminism, blue-haired SJW feminist freakouts and censorship where like everybody was talking about it. It was all over the fucking place back in 2014 to 2016. Now we're moving right back into that again. Everyone's talking about that shit. It's getting crazier and crazier as time goes on. Biden is in office, so those that want to be counterculture are naturally going to drift more to the right because a left-leaning candidate is in power right now. I genuinely do think the dominoes are set up for, yes, potentially, a culmination of a more radicalized leftist group. However, I think we're going to see a lot more people being radicalized to the right over the next couple of years. However, I will say I'm super excited about this. I'm really excited. I want it to be a cycle. I hope it's literally a 4-year cycle on the internet, that we go from like the anti-SJWs being on top, then BreadTube being on top. I just hope it's a 4-year cycle every single 4 years. I really hope it just does that constantly, and it's like there's an off season and an on season. That would be fucking dope, dude. I like, because I want to be, I'm so sad I didn't get to be a lefty debate streamer back during like Gamergate and that era of the internet. I'm so sad that I wasn't around for that. And if this whole like cycle does happen as I predict it will, it's almost going to be like new game plussing that era, you know? It's the closest thing I can really do to like going back in time and like playing, like doing all that shit with my current, you know, knowledge and skill set. So I'm really excited for it to happen. Also, typically when the right is dominant online, their arguments get weak. Like, for example, back when like Destiny came along and the skeptic community had been dominant for multiple years and they were very comfortable at that point, he easily blew them all the fuck out. The debaters from back then are nothing compared to the right-wing debaters now, okay? They've gotten better at debating as the left has gotten more dominant online. But as the right gets more dominant online and the left gets less dominant, I think especially as more new YouTubers start to get bigger, new right-wing reactionary YouTubers start growing, you're going to see the right online become completely complacent again. And I genuinely believe that it's going to lead to just a repeat of what happened before. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited to dunk on just on really stupid conservative YouTubers that literally can't get their brain past stupid, like, culture war bullshit.
Idealism aren't the same thing. Those don't mean the same thing. You can Wikipedia them.
You're basing you're constructing hypothetical situations that have no bearing.
Hypotheticals aren't. Wait, do you think an idealism is when you construct a hypothetical? Do you think those mean the same thing? You're going to lecture me on dialectical materialism.
There's no point in having this discussion. Is my point.
Can you answer that question? Do you think idealism means when you construct a hypothetical? Have you read Capital? It's full of hypotheticals.
That has nothing to do with reality, and you think that gets you closer to the truth. That is idealism, because you are making the ideal conscious processes of thought your basis for truth.
Idealism is not when you.
My basis for finding truth.
I see the issue. You think idealism is when you think, which is why you don't. Listen, if you read Das Kapital, okay, you'll actually find hypotheticals. They're actually kind of ubiquitous. Look. Anyway,
they're grounded in reality, though. They're grounded in actual things that happen.
So just let's finish the point. We can move on if you let me talk for 10 seconds, okay? So in that situation, you could argue consequentially that the outcomes would be good to murder that innocent child because the earth doesn't get blown up. Then, because the Twitter bit cuts me off literally mid-sentence, you follow on from that point to talk about how a rule utilitarian could have a categorical opposition to the murder of children in spite of that. The whole argument was one against the predation of children, but far-right people like to clip me out of context because it's easier than debunking me. That's it. That was it.
Okay. All right. That is idealism, though.
That's not what idealism means.
It is. When you think that you can find any truth that brings you, like if you use a hypothetical that's grounded in reality, then that's not. This isn't.
Oh my God. I think I realize what EJ is arguing right now, and I'm going to restate his opinion in the most charitable way I can read it. EJ is arguing that your moral system and your moral code should not be consistent. As in, if you took yourself and placed yourself at any point in history in the past, your moral code should not be like the good opinion to have at any time. He doesn't agree with that idea, apparently. I guess that's his excuse for why his moral code or whatever he's arguing in favor of. I don't even know what to call it because that's how unhinged he's coming off as here. Not in his behavior, but in his beliefs. Like, his beliefs are unhinged. Like, I don't even know what to describe it as, but that seems to be his way of defending his inability to justify why he believes what he believes. And why it can't hold up to, like, the most basic of hypotheticals. Like, that is the most basic hypothetical, by the way. Like, okay, consequentialism. Somebody has a gun to another person. Someone will blow up the planet and everyone will die if you don't kill an innocent person. What action is less morally bad? And EJ's response is, that's idealism. Having a moral system that would help you out of that situation is idealistic. No, obviously you choose to kill the one innocent person to save the planet. Like, it's not that idealistic. It's a pretty basic moral system, you know, where you try to maximize good outcomes and minimize bad outcomes, you know, pro good things, anti bad things. Pretty basic. What
idealism means. It's not. You don't know what that term means.
Well, what do you think idealism means?
So do you mean idealism like in relationship to materialism in the dialectical sense, like dialectical idealism versus dialectical materialism? Because the Hegelian concept has nothing to do with the construction of hypotheticals.
No, it doesn't. But it does. But no, it does. It does. So yes, it does, because idealism is the position that the basis for
I'm not
finding
gonna pretend
truth,
like
and this
I've read
actually does
Hegel.
move towards what I wanted to talk to you about, so I'm fine with talking about
It's
this now,
it's the trolley
because
problem. I think EJ would actually piss himself if you presented him with the trolley problem. It's just the idea, the concept of. I'm ranting too much. Let's continue. We've been doing this for 2 hours, and we are 33 minutes into this 2-hour debate. So we need to stop pause-andying as much.
I do think you misunderstand the difference between materialism and idealism, and I think you don't understand the relationship between Hegel and Marx and Engels, and I don't think that you understand the difference between historical materialism and dialectical materialism. So these are all things I did want to ask you about. So Hegel's whole dialectic, and the problem that Marx and Engels had with Hegel, was that he sought truth on the basis of the ideal and consciousness. Okay.
Oh, the debate
Marx
ends
and
halfway
Engels
into the video.
broke with that, and they thought that the material world and objective sense data, empirical sense data, is the primary basis for truth. But they were not empiricists. They were not positivists, meaning they didn't think you could only find truth in sense data, in empirical data. Okay. Do you agree with all of those things I just said, or do you know those things?
No, I don't think that's correct. I think that's simplified in some respects and incorrect in others.
All right. Well, just tell me what you think idealism is, Vaush.
The dialectical disagreement. So first of all, idealism is a philosophical tradition dating back millennia. What you refer to as ideal, like, I don't know, there are like 20 different kinds of idealism depending on where you're pulling from. The juxtaposition usually posed against what Marx wrote was Hegelian dialectical idealism, which was the idea that social advancements, that ideas that human civilization was moved forward as a product of the antagonisms which arise in people's thoughts as they have competing values and virtues which fight against each other.
I would have gone so much harder on EJ for his little his little smuckle at the like hypothetical. That would have been the point where I'm like, okay, fuck this guy. I'm going hard now. I'm going hard. That would have been where I would have. I'm surprised he kept his patience after that.
Okay, yes.
And Marx
Can
is.
I stop you for one moment?
Sure.
Can I stop you for one moment? Okay. So an example of that, I think, and one of the
EJ
big
mocked
problems we have on
Vaush
the
for
left
using his
today,
hands. Did you catch that?
and the problem that I've seen you have in your discussions,
I did not, but
is that we have these hypothetical discussions
Cringe.
about what we should do or shouldn't do, or after the revolution, will this happen or will this exist, and blah blah blah, and we construct hypothetical scenarios.
Imagine being a communist and not being able to engage with hypotheticals. I genuinely don't know. Wait. Literally, EJ, the videos that blew up EJ's channel, the fucking, the puppet videos or whatever, were literally videos that were meant to explain to viewers how a hypothetical anarchist society would function. Because back then, at least, EJ was definitely an anarchist. At least he came off that way. I don't, like, maybe he's an anarchist and Luna's just a tanky and he's just, like, defending his wife, which is understandable. I won't blame anybody for defending their partner, even if their partner's wrong, because it's, like, kind of have to do that. Yeah, I don't know. Don't forget his hypothetical anarchist society and anarchist gulags. Yeah. The anarchist gulags are not a good place. That I don't want that one to exist. That's not good.
About the future, and then we think that that's what we should base all of our praxis and activism on. So in other words, we come up with the ideas first, which Engels described as utopianism, Marx and Engels described as utopianism, and then we think like, okay, we've got this perfect vision for where we want to be. Now we have to get from here to there, and we have to dogmatically stay.
Oh, guys, you guys want to see the perfect bit of evidence? You guys want to see the perfect bit of evidence as to why I'm right about the cycle of online politics? Let me show you guys the only image you need to see. The video and thumbnail you're about to see was uploaded 1 month ago, and it has nearly 660,000 views. It's happening, guys. We're going back in time. It's happening. Dude, I think I'm literally Bruno from Encanto. I'm literally fucking Bruno. Everybody online hates me because I keep on correctly predicting what's going to happen, and now everybody assumes that I'm speaking these futures into existence. Okay? This is why we don't talk about Xanderhall. I said I'm literally fucking Bruno. Fuck you. Come on. Chill. That movie was pretty good. I would have respected it a lot more if they followed through on all of the characters losing their powers and the house them just being normal human beings and building a normal house. If it just ended right there and they were all normal after that, I would have respected the fuck out of the movie. Them getting their powers back right at the end and that weird like rushed like photo scene was so odd to me. Like the movie was great. It's just that one end. I feel like the ending would have stuck a better landing if it had literally just been, yeah, they lost their powers, but at least now they've learned to be, to love each other, and they're a happy family now, and they know how to work together, and they built a whole new house and everything, and the moral is like, because literally, I don't know. I'm sorry. I just feel like the movie would have had a better message. If that was how it ended,
That course, that would be. Would you agree that that's an idealist basis for moving a movement forward, a political movement?
I think it's utopian, but I don't think it's a dialectically idealist concept. I think you could frame that belief system through dialectical materialism just fine.
Stop spoiling
you
shit.
Frame that system through dialectical materialism. Frame a utopian system, or what do you mean? I don't understand what you mean.
Dialectical materialism is only a mode of analysis. It's a theory to explain the movement, the evolution of human behavior, society, social developments. You could apply it to anything. You can analyze any system, any society through the lens of dialectical materialism. It doesn't have to be. There isn't like a dialectically materialist way of doing a thing. Outside the process of.
There are YouTube videos speculating that Mirabelle did have a gift, and it makes me sad. She did, though. That's the impression I got at the end of the movie. It seemed like her destiny was, well, her possible destiny, I guess, was the explanation. Her purpose, one possible purpose. I'm spoiling the movie, by the way, so just mute for a second if you don't want Encanto spoiled. Her one purpose that she could have, I guess, is that her power would be to rebuff not debuff the family, but to rebuff it, because when she puts the doorknob on the new house, it lights up like when they touch the door to get their gift, and she opens up the door and they all get their powers back and the house reactivates. So at least the impression I got was that was her power. That is how she got it, and or that was what her ability is. She is meant to be she becomes the new not Mr. What is the name of the grandma? What's the grandma's name? She's got a title of the house. What's her title? Just Abuela? I guess, well, I know, no, she went by another name. I guess she's meant to, take that place next. The keeper of the candle. Whatever word they had to describe the person who did that, I forget. And that is not a title. That is just Spanish for grandma. But yeah, I forget what it was. Matriarch, yes. She is going to become the next matriarch of the family. That was, the impression that was given off, and so that's what her power is. I don't know. They could have just gone with them all being a normal family after that, and it would have given a better message, I think. But it was a good movie.
Of analysis, you can't make a civilization and go this time we'll do it dialectically, materially.
The point is that you're putting the cart before the horse if you say this would be a perfect society, and a priori you will find out through praxis what works and what doesn't. That was a big important thing that Marx Engels pointed out, was that you can only find truth through practice and praxis.
I'm not a utopian. I agree that it is dumb to conceptualize an ideal society. And
okay,
then
so when you conceptualize things with aliens and things that don't happen on planet Earth, that's a useless rhetorical strategy.
Oh my God, this is what you were running back to? No, okay.
Yes.
So, no. Let me explain. Please listen, this can be instructive, okay? There is a massive difference between framing your pragmatic advocacy for a political system based on a utopian vision of a future that you don't have material conditions to account for, and the construction of a hypothetical to illustrate the dynamics of a moral system. If you read Capital, I promise you will find hypotheticals that are very outlandish.
Hold on. Your whole thing, you believe that you can construct a moral system where you can, before
I didn't construct it. It's just rule utilitarianism.
You can't. The material conditions determine what is morally acceptable and what's not. When the French resistance were blowing up Nazis, that was okay because of the material conditions they were in. Right? Do you agree with that? But it's not always okay to just go blow people up.
No,
there are certain material conditions where it's acceptable and some where it's not.
Those have nothing to do with each other. No, I'm not a moral relativist. Wait, do you think slavery was moral because back then people thought it was moral?
That's exactly the opposite of what I'm saying.
The material
I'm saying
conditions of
justified
16th
for
century
slaves.
agriculture demanded the existence of slavery. Do you think that's moral then? Like, what?
That's my point. Is that it has? I believe my morality stems from dialectical. Like, so let me put it this way.
But dialectical materialism isn't a moral system. It's just an analysis of history. Those are okay. These are the people who criticize my philosophy, man.
Here's where you're wrong, because you are conflating empiricism and positivism and determinism with dialectical materialism.
No, that's what Luna was doing.
One of the important things that Marx and Engels pointed out, Vaush, is that through conscious activity we can impact the material world and we can make changes. And so, for instance, people can liberate themselves by developing mass movements, but they have to develop them with an understanding of the material processes of reality. If you try to develop, so for instance, of course, all poor people don't want to be poor anymore, right? But like, if you have false consciousness and you don't have a firm grasp on how material processes work and how the world actually develops and how things can develop and how applying your consciousness to material conditions will develop reality. If you don't have that, then you will fail and fail and fail again. That's why Engels and Marx wrote Socialism, Utopia, and Scientific, because they wanted to stop the. They were remember they were organizers. They were activists. They were actually going out. They were members of groups. They were doing things, you know, and they had praxis. And they were so tired of having hypothetical conversations with people.
There's a difference between opposition to constructing a hypothetical entirely and opposition to the idea of basing one's entire political advocacy off of hypotheticals and nothing else. But that's because pragmatic advocacy for a political system and ethical systems are two different things. Hypotheticals are the only things that you can really use to construct a normative ethical system, because you have to isolate. Because first of all,
where are you getting this information from? Or is this something you just came up with, or what is this? What are you talking about?
Okay. If you're constructing an ethical system, like, or I guess, learning to understand one.
Wait, what's an ethical system? What's a moral system?
A normative process by which you determine whether an action or a person is good or bad. In my case, an action, because I'm not an
they're just allergic to the
ethicist.
spit, huh? Animals produce pollen. Isn't it called dander?
Okay. And do you think that you can make one moral system that applies in all conditions, or like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, the goal would be to construct a normative ethical system that's universally applicable. It is a constant subject of debate in philosophy.
That's idealism.
That is not idealism. That's not what idealism means.
Because you're saying that you can hypothetically construct. You're saying that, like, if you sat down and thought hard enough, you had a big enough piece of paper and you wrote down enough if-then Boolean logic statements, you could construct exactly what is morally correct in any given situation in your mind.
Well, the difficulty usually isn't whether something is good or bad. It's whether or not we can assemble all the necessary information to determine whether or not it's good or bad. Like, hypotheticals are the easy isolating factor.
That's what Marx and Engels, that was their big breakthrough. That's what made them, they synthesized empiricism and positivism of people like Hume and Ricardo and Smith and the idealism of Hegel. And they realized that there's actually this dialectical relationship between...
Okay, I'm just going to say this right now, okay? Fuck theory. All right? As I've said a million times, theory, at least for me and in my experience, is good for one thing, okay? Theory is a source of knowledge and explanations of a political ideology that I maybe don't exactly, like 100%, but for the most part agree with, from people who lived a long time ago that had a good long time to think about what they believe. And they found a lot of really good ways to explain their beliefs and a lot of really good ways to defend their beliefs. And that's where I think that's what theory gives you. If you agree with those ideas, what theory typically gives me is articulations for ideas I already agreed with. More articulated ways to phrase what I already believed. But I really hate this like tendency on the left, and I feel like everybody engages in it just too much, where like the conversation gets led to theory. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say this right now. What makes the words of Marx any more valuable than the words of any modern day socialist who believes the same stuff? What makes Marx's words more valuable? Nothing. It's because Marx is a guy who's a celebrity. Marx is a celebrity. He's dead, but he's a celebrity, and he is worshipped as such in the online left because he's an old theorist, right? And let's be real, at least when I've read of Marx, nothing I saw from him was all that revolutionary, you know, in regards to like, oh my god, I never even considered this, you know? I don't know, it just seems like people forget that Marx, Engels, Lenin, the list goes on, were all human beings that were fallible, that existed a long time ago and are dead. I feel like people forget that.
Material reality, material conditions, and human consciousness.
That's not a matter of ethics. If we're talking about ethics, you need...
I think Xanderhall should actually read the theory before he makes that appraisal. So here's the thing, Hugh McDonald. No amount of theory will ever be enough. There's way more leftist theory in existence than I think any human could possibly engage with in their lifetime. And depending on who you talk to, how much theory I've read might be enough for me to have that opinion and might not. I've read a good amount of theory, some of it read. I listen to it in audiobooks. I don't read. I've read a good amount of theory. Obviously we did the Communist Manifesto, which is more of like a pamphlet in size, not like a book. Obviously we listened to Sargon of Akkad, of all people, and his narration of the Communist Manifesto while we were doing Minecraft. And then we did I did this off stream while playing Terraria. I listened to the Bread book, The Conquest of Bread. And that was probably the best piece that I listened to. There was a quote that stuck out to me a lot in The Conquest of Bread that I think is very useful in debates with conservatives or with people who are a little bit nervous about like socialism. And that is this quote. I'm going to paraphrase it, but I think it goes like this. The worker is entitled as much to the sheets on his bed as he is to the hammer that he works with and the clothes on his back. And it goes on a little further, but it goes something along those lines. And the gist of it is that, of course, even in a communist or I guess anarchist society, in the case of the Conquest of Bread, even in an anarchist society, you would be able to own stuff. Like you'd own your bed. You'd still have your clothes. It's not like you can't have things. It's not like you don't own your toothbrush. You can still have personal possessions and things that belong to you. But the current structure of ownership that we currently have in our society would be dissolved. At least that was the impression I got from it. I don't know. I guess the point that I'm getting at, and then also I've read the first volume, I think it is, of why am I blanking on it right now? Das Kapital. Oh God, chat. I don't know if I can do any more. I don't know if I can do any more of Das Kapital. It's so dry. It's so boring. It's so boring. It's so fucking boring. I listened to an audiobook of it while playing through Far Cry 6. Okay? Like I was playing a game that action-packed and I was still bored listening to the fucking audiobook.
Hypotheticals because they allow you to isolate conditions that you can use to determine the frameworks of your system. If you're only using practical examples for an ethical consideration, then you're post-hawking everything that happens. You're like, well, was that train crash bad? And you're like, I don't have a system for this. And you're like working through it.
I haven't read any Lenin or
dialectical
like Hegel
materialism.
And I have read Lenin, but I haven't read Hegel, and I haven't read. I'm trying to think of other like lefty theorists that everyone always brings up, but I'm blanking right now on their names. Name like a lefty theorist, and you'll find me. This stream is boring, am I right? No, it is not, Wingo. What are you talking about?
It's just like this. Dialectical materialism is a system devised to allow us to analyze the world and to provide us a framework for understanding. That's what an ethical...
Marx and Engels, Socialism, Utopian and Scientific, wrote, the final causes of all social changes and political revolutions are to be sought not in men's brains, but in men's better insights into eternal truth and justice. Not in men's better insights into eternal truth and justice, but in changes in the modes of production and exchange. They very specifically said we can't just sit around and think about what's best. We have to go out and apply things in the material world.
That has nothing to do with... Okay, you realize that Marx had a doctorate, right? Like, clearly sitting and thinking
Zan
is part of the process.
Lula
I think it's okay to sit down and read out a few hypotheticals to learn an ethical system. Like would you like say this to some kid in kindergarten? Like, you know, action is what we need. Like yes, it's okay to do hypotheticals. It's okay to learn ethical systems. And by the way, rural utilitarianism is really applicable with socialism. It is incredibly naturally, almost intuitively, in line with the moral assertions a person might make to argue in favor of socialism.
Marx and Engels did not just sit around thinking, okay, like in their brains.
We're not talking about just sitting around. Wait, are you against the concept of philosophy?
You have to base your analysis on...
Seems that way based on what he said about hypotheticals.
There are two sources of objective data. There's the material world, and then there are objective social relations. That's the way Marx and Engels put it anyway.
Okay, let me test your intuitive system then. Okay.
If you go to
let's hit it
19
then.
minutes,
Is it wrong
EJ literally uses a hypothetical. What else do you need, chat?
to hit a person?
It absolutely depends on the material condition.
Can we boost these likes? Hey, if you're watching right now and you don't have money to financially contribute to the stream in a form of a donation, gifted sub, or anything like that, consider dropping a like on the stream over on YouTube. It's completely free and takes literally like less than a second, and it does a lot more than you realize. It really helps out the stream, helps out the channel, and helps out any video you leave a like on. Commenting down below in the comments section also helps as well in any video or stream. So if you don't have money but you still want to support the channel, those are two really easy ways that you can do it. Doing both helps even more. So yeah, consider it if you want to help out the channel.
Conditions in the situation and the objective social relations at play. There's no universal answer to that question.
Okay, I agree. So one might say that
social relations. Do I need to define that term?
Circumstances matter. Yeah. Okay. So I agree with that. So let's say, okay, let's use an example where all of the cases are known. You said that I was too vitriolic to Luna. Why is that bad?
I said that you need to look at the evidence that's being presented to you and consider whether you think it's bad or not.
And
I'm asking you to apply this kind of analysis to your own platform.
Well, I've done that, but you clearly think it was bad because otherwise you wouldn't take issue with it enough to talk to me about it. You think I've acted in error.
Because I saw evidence, which is that after you talked about her, not just once, but every time you've done a stream about her, I saw a huge uptick in people throwing racist, vitriolic shit at her.
Why is that bad?
That she doesn't usually receive on that scale. That's the evidence I presented to you.
Okay, why is that bad?
I was convinced by that. Excuse me?
Why is that bad?
Why is that bad? Why is that bad? Because a human being suffered because of...
Okay. I hate when people, also great pause face on them. I hate when people are incapable of explaining why something they think is good and something they think is bad is bad. It's so fucking obnoxious to me, okay? It's very important that you be able to explain these things, and it has to be consistent. It has to hold up to scrutiny. Do you guys remember the notorious debates that Destiny had with No Bullshit? Those debates, I feel like, are a peak representation of someone being incapable of using logic or facts to defend a position that they hold. Even if the position is correct, they just don't have the fact. They're morally lucky on that position. They can't defend it. So like with the incest debate with No Bullshit, while No Bullshit's conclusion was correct, he literally just couldn't explain why incest was bad. He, like, on a moral level, if you put it into like a vacuum, he literally was incapable of defending why or explaining why it's bad. And you need to be able to explain why bad things in your moral system are bad. And a lot of people are incapable of it. And when you call out their inability to do so, they act performatively offended and they go, "Why is it bad? Because someone got hurt." Nat, I'm going to take a guess at what Vaush is getting at here. The reason why the people who engaged in vitriolic, hateful racism towards Luna were bad is because they were directing insults towards her that were based on immutable characteristics, things that you cannot change. People from Vaush's community acting vitriolic towards her are criticizing opinions that she has, things that she's done, and stuff that she's said. Nothing immutable, nothing that you're born with, and nothing that can't be changed. Nothing that you could be discriminated against for on like a level like that. Like, that's clearly what Vaush is getting at. That's clearly what he's trying to get to, but I don't think EJ's going to be able to handle it. I feel like he's going to derail the dialogue line before it gets to the oh shit conclusion moment, you know?
As a direct result of actions that you performed.
Do you think that human suffering is always bad? What about when we shot Nazis?
I don't think that Luna... If you think that Luna deserves to suffer... Do you think Luna deserves to suffer? Is that your point here? By being attacked by racists? Is that what you're saying?
You're the one who said that it was bad because a person suffered. So logically, I extend from that. You think when suffering...
Yes,
Xander, you couldn't be more correct. Did I correctly predict what he's about to do? Or what he was trying to do? Listen, I'm telling you guys, I'm Bruno.
That Luna suffered because racists sent racist vitriol at her.
I'm asking you your positions. Why was it bad?
I would say it's definitely bad. Because it's promoting the racist system of white supremacism, which oppresses billions of people around the planet.
Why is that bad?
It is bad because we should seek to liberate
I was
all of
spoiling the
humanity
shit out
from
of
oppression.
Encanto 10 minutes ago,
Why?
Pillow.
So the main point of Marx and Engels is to you realize that the main point of dialectical materialism and historical materialism is to free humanity from all class antagonisms so that we can finally begin writing history ourselves. That's basically the way that they put it.
Why did
So
they think that was worth
once-
doing?
Yeah, Pillow, you missed the Encanto
Because
talk.
throughout modern history, or throughout history since class antagonisms arose, let's put it that way,
59559.
human beings have been driven forward by oppressive relations with the means of production, and that limits humans and it causes a lot of suffering.
I
And
don't understand these
is-
terms. You already said suffering can be good or bad. Limiting? What makes these things bad? I don't understand.
Okay, limiting oppression, giving people the ability to develop their own material conditions and to have the freedom to do what they want. That's what they talked about in
Why should people
socialism,
have freedom?
Utopian scientific.
Should people have freedom to murder?
Vaush, freedom to live.
It would be nice to have an ethical system you could apply to.
Do you want to like hear? This is all that EJ has to say to be correct and to not come off badly. Well, I guess this is what... Okay. EJ could literally just say, if he was smart, that he believes that the vitriol done by Vaush's audience, even if it is not racist, is just as bad as the vitriol being spread by the Nazis and the racists in Luna Oi's comment sections. He could argue that both of these are effectively the same because they're all molded together into one big sort of like, I guess, parade of people talking shit, right? Like if you're getting like, if like 30% of the people shit talking you are like saying racist shit to you, and then like 70% of the people that are shit talking you aren't, well, it still kind of feels like you're getting hit by like a racist mob, right? It feels that way at least. And EJ could make that argument that what they're doing is more or less causing that effect for a person of color to feel attacked based on their their ethnicity. Now, would this would make EJ at the very least sound like he has a consistent like philosophy on this situation? But it still wouldn't be right. Vaush would still be able to shoot it down. I'd still be able to shoot it down. Anybody would still be able to shoot it down. But at least EJ wouldn't look like a complete bumbling idiot. At the very least, it would look like EJ has some kind of consistent moral like compass or moral framework that he follows.
To answer these questions, right?
No, okay. A person
Vanderhall's better at being a
has
woke scold than
the
woke
right-
scolds. Kinda.
This is okay. Let's go back to the material conditions, all right? If you're being oppressed, right? If you're being oppressed and somebody is forcing you to work for them as a slave or a wage earner or whatever, that is a form of exploitation, okay?
Isn't that their
What is
freedom?
bad, excuse me?
Isn't that their freedom? You're talking about
Isn't
restricting
that
the
their
freedom of
freedom?
people to do unto others what they will.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. You're saying that you don't like it when people exercise their freedom to oppress others. You said you value
Okay.
freedom.
Vaush.
Mm-hmm.
Listen. The fact of the matter is that Marx and Engels believed that exploitation through class antagonism is not
Xan
good.
was secretly a woke scold this whole time.
Do you agree or disagree with that?
We're talking about what I agree. I think I'm a Marxist, at least in some respects. But I have an ethical
Okay.
system that informs the reasons why I feel Marxism is worth following.
And what is that?
Rule utilitarianism. Or I guess some people say you can fold that into act utilitarianism. So let's just say utilitarianism. Fine.
But but there's no.
This isn't a matter of idealism. It's a matter of understanding why we fight
Okay.
for what we fight for.
EJ seems to have had his moral framework justified by theory, rather than having the theory justified by his moral framework. Like, generally, like, I think usually at a base level, in order for someone to be a good person, especially when it comes to, like, political stuff, like, they need to have, like, a basic decent moral compass, right? Like, good things good, bad things bad, right? Like, at the very least, they need to, like, desire some basic principles, even if they disagree on how they're achieved or whatever. At the very least, they need to agree that we should maximize the happiness of people and try to make the world a better place, in quotes, you know? But like EJ just doesn't have that. EJ doesn't even have like a set of beliefs that he already had. I guess it seems that way, or at least he claims he doesn't. I doubt it's true though. Like a set of beliefs, a set of moral principles going in that made him receptive to communist theory. Because usually, at least from what I know, most people I know that have read theory, including myself, were already interested and were already identified as leftists and were already like sold, and they're reading theory to like build up their knowledge and build up their rhetorical skills, being able to explain whatever socialist principle or communist principle or theory that's being discussed. Like, I don't know.
What you're arguing for is intuitive morality, which is exactly what leads to every goddamn pogrom and mass slaughter that's ever happened throughout history. When people post hoc justify what's right or wrong, only the construction of and adherence to moral systems that you can understand can prevent that kind of stuff from happening. And it's why I'm hammering on it right now. I don't like it when you're laughing like, oh, hypotheticals, oh,
the
thinking.
Material conditions will dictate what's acceptable or not. And the only way we have to, okay.
Like, why are you against the concept? Do you think you're smarter than like all of like ethics, like the whole philosophy? Like
No,
that's
but my ethics
it's like the
are
most
grounded-
complicated.
So okay, if you are, I don't know how to explain this to you. Like you have to look at history, right? That's one way that's one way to look at it. So whenever people have been enslaved, if they rise up and use violence to liberate themselves, then that is probably acceptable because they had material conditions in which violence was being. Okay, so
Like the Nazis?
Rising up against the Nazis was acceptable, yes.
No. After
French
World War I, the Nazis claimed that Jewish bankers were holding the country down through.
And that was false
economic
consciousness because
exploitation.
that wasn't actually happening.
How can you
That
tell?
was false consciousness.
What?
They constructed
Oh,
a
no.
moral utilitarian rule that did not align with reality.
They were not utilitarian. Wait, the Nazis were not utilitarian. Careful with that. They were very, very not utilitarian.
The point is that they were their ideology was not aligned with reality.
How can you tell?
Because Jews don't actually control banks in the world.
There was a disproportionate number of Jewish control of banks in Germany during the Weimar Republic.
All right, Vaush, we're done here. Thank you. Good.
Oh my god, what a pussy.
Goodbye. This is that's all I need to hear.
You don't have an ethical. Oh my god.
Wait, he rage quitted oh my god, that was his only out. It's actually good that he took that out because there was no, like, it might have been completely career ending if it went on, like, even if it had gone on a second further, it would be fucking career ending for him because it was about to be tough for our boy there. Now, I'm not a fucking idiot, so I'm gonna go ahead and, like, tell you what that interaction was supposed to be. So the idea is EJ doesn't believe that the Nazi claim, that the claim that Nazis make, that Jewish people have a disproportionate control of banks, especially back in Germany, that he's claiming that claim wasn't true. Here's the thing: it is true. It is true that Jewish people had a disproportionate amount of involvement in banking. And there are reasons for that. None of those reasons that are Nazi reasons, by the way. They're actual historical, completely well accepted, historical, understanding that there are reasons why Jewish people typically have why the banking industry has been so dominated by Jewish people. There's a reason for it. I'm not going to try to explain it right now. I could probably give you a Cliff Notes version, but there's videos that have talked about it, and I highly recommend you check it out. Just not some Nazi shit, okay? Now, here's the thing. Simply saying that Jewish people, that a lot of bankers are Jewish, doesn't mean anything on its own. Just like if you present the stat, like 1350, for example, which isn't even accurate necessarily. Like if you present the 1350 stat, you could use that stat and go off with an argument about systemic racism, and you could go on a really woke argument going off that stat, or you could misrepresent the stat and go on a really racist argument with it, right? The same goes for this topic. EJ doesn't realize that he needs to be able to engage with Nazism, in arguments. He needs to be able to debunk their talking points, even though the base premise that they established their system on is a technically true observation of the world. Everything past that technically true observation of the world, though, is all bad, because that's the Nazi ideology part. And so what was supposed to happen there, I assume, was that Vaush would explain to EJ that yes, that is true, but that doesn't mean the Nazis are correct about their system, because the Nazis wanted to kill Jewish people and were wrong about the conspiracies that they tried to spin about it. Like, I don't know. But yeah, EJ really, it was probably in EJ's best interest to dip out there, because there's no way that he was going to look good if that went through. Like, if that debate went how it was going to go. Let's watch a little bit of the aftermath.
I'd run too if I was him. Oh, that was good. God. I can't believe people in my community like that guy. That was funny as hell. You gotta lean into the clips. That's what you gotta lean into. Oh, in case anyone's curious about what's happening there, that guy was actually too stupid to have a conversation with. He actually thought that the construction of an ethical system and using hypotheticals to...
I cannot believe it. Most of this debate wasn't even about, like, anything. Most of this debate was about whether or not we should engage in debate, basically. Like, most of this debate was about whether or not it is good to be able to debate.
Understand ethics meant that you were some kind of anti-material idealist. He was dismissing the concept.
Xander Hall, did you notice EJ's eyes were moving across the room left and right as he talks, watching Luna pace on the other side of the room? Yeah, that's gotta be what was happening. Like, Luna's on the other side of the table, like behind, like on the other side of the monitor, pacing around. EJ's sleeping on the couch tonight, okay? Or he slept on the couch last night. EJ is going to be a couch sleeper for at least a week. Poor guy.
Concept of philosophy. Marx was a philosopher. I mean, like Marx would be like laughing. Yeah. Yeah, he couldn't comprehend the idea of an ethical system. Did he learn anything though? I feel like for a bit there he got close to understanding.
I don't know about that.
He got close to understanding when I was asking, like, well, why is freedom wrong? Why is suffering bad? So on and so on. Like, yeah. Dishonest or stupid? No, I think I don't know. He might just be stupid.
I think
Vaush,
he's
give us an
stupid.
actual lesson on real utilitarianism now, please. I'd like to see how you
Wait,
answer these
Professor
questions.
Flowers
Dude,
shows
so
up?
Easy,
no
man.
way.
So easy, okay? So,
When?
as a moral anti-realist, I don't think there's any way to objectively determine what is good or bad in the universe. However, I do think that you can build systems which adhere to subjectively determined moral principles that we call... Literally just admitting by colonizer... They found this on Twitter. This is from 2 days ago. Like, incredible stuff, right? You literally equivocated colonizer with white and multiple streams.
In NonCompete's Cope stream?
That you would want me to be ashamed about this.
Send me the Cope stream.
I had to cut that short. I apologize. I'm stunned. I don't know. What do you think? Did you hear that?
Oh, here she comes. Here she comes.
Maybe the Nazis had a point.
Nazi has a point. Yes, exactly.
What?
I can't stand it.
I guess we just...
Wait, that's not what he said at all. What? You know what this is? This is like, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of that one troll. Okay, I remember when I first started watching Destiny videos back in the day, there was this one debate that he did while playing League of Legends with a fan that was actually trolling, and this fan was this troll was accusing him of being racist because he did a debate where he said that black people in this country tend to be poorer than white people. And the guy came in claiming that Destiny is racist because he said that in a debate where he's arguing with a Nazi on why black people being disproportionately in poverty in this country isn't because of like race or genetics, but because of the systems that have existed throughout our history in this country, from redlining, segregation, even going back as far as slavery, and even more recently the broken windows policing, or even just the drug war broadly has been used to disproportionately put down black people in this society. Like, that's the line of argument you have to go down if you're going to deal with Nazis and racists. The problem is EJ literally can't even recognize that the base premise of these ideologies is just an observation about the world that you need to be able to recognize to effectively argue against them. That's why I have such a huge problem with people like this getting like so much goddamn clout in the online left, because they're starting to become the face of it. The face of the left is starting to move more towards those like smug, high and mighty, video essay type content, like Thought Slime and shit like that. It seems like that's the direction the online left is going in, and I assure you, very, very soon, there is going to be a fresh new batch of anti-SJW right-wing YouTubers with massive audiences that are going to be berating the fuck out of these YouTubers that are incapable of defending their ideas when they're held up to scrutiny. Noah Samson and I are actually cool now. Me and Noah Samson actually worked it out. It turns out it was like a complete misunderstanding. Noah Samson was under the impression...
Asterisk has donated asterisk $15.
Noah Samson was under the impression that like a clip that he'd seen of me from that happened like 2 years ago was actually like really recent. And like we had a bit of a back and forth, and we like worked it out, and I think we're cool now. I don't know if we're friends or anything, but we're like cool, you know? Like we don't hate each other. Neither of us have each other blocked, you know? I hold no ill will, frankly, and I hope he doesn't. But yeah, it was just a misunderstanding. And I issued a retraction on Twitter and stuff like that. I guess, but he's still sus. I do think his opinion on the Professor Flowers thing is sus, but it's just not worth starting shit. Like, it's not worth starting shit over something that's not blatant, you know? Like, had it been something like an outward defense of that idea, maybe then I would have had more grounds to go further, but I think as long as there's nothing like solid to pin anyone down on, I shouldn't go too hard. Matt Banks, thank you so goddamn much for the $15 donation. Thank you so much. Said, EJ and Luna are no longer worth associating with in any fashion. Yeah, I agree, Matt Banks. It's really sad what happened to them. They really, like, at least EJ did. I never really watched Luna's content, though I know she took part in some of his better videos. When he did, like, the puppet show videos where he was explaining, like, leftism and politics with puppets. And I really liked those videos, and it's sad that he moved more towards this sort of, like, honestly, the live stream content, I think, is when his channel started to go downhill. I think there's certain people who can do live streaming, and I think there are certain people who just don't have the personality for it. And I don't know if EJ has the personality for live streaming. I think he has the personality for prepared content. And once he stopped doing that, I think his channel kind of sussed out for me. We going back to 2016 YouTube politics, baby. I'm so fucking excited. I can't wait. It's going to be like New Game Plusing 2014. It's going to be like New Game Plusing Gamergate. I'm so fucking hyped.
Run away. Yeah, whenever I start realizing that the person I'm talking to is defending Nazi points for anti-Semitism, that's when I run away. Yeah. I don't want to talk to that person.
What a pussy, dude. Imagine being in a call with somebody who's a much bigger YouTuber than you, and now you think they're defending Nazi points, and your response is to just leave and just completely like secede the debate. This is my problem. If EJ was debating a real Nazi, and a real Nazi said a real Nazi thing, EJ would lose his shit, leave, forfeit the debate, and now Nazi destroys lefty who's incapable of debating. Triggered leftist who's incapable of debating ends up getting 500,000 views on the YouTube front page. You know? Like, I'm telling you, it's coming. Imagine if Destiny just fucking hung up when JonTron started saying white supremacist shit. God, what a horrible timeline. Jesus.
I'm sorry if anyone's disappointed. I'm not continuing that conversation. Nothing was coming out of that. Nothing good was coming out of that. I think you totally let him control the debate and steer you into a corner. No, he would not understand what material can... all right.
Oh, no. He's getting shit from his own audience. Oh.
Here's what he did not understand and would not recognize because he doesn't understand dialectical materialism. The material conditions are what dictate what is or isn't morally permissible in any given situation. And there's no way to predict ahead of time what will or won't be morally appropriate. And that's just the fact, okay? So, for instance...
This just is not true. What the fuck? That just isn't true. Like, I'm sorry to break it to you guys, but it is like a fact that had the South during like the slavery days just one day said, we're going to go ahead and end slavery and free all the slaves, it would have been devastating for everybody who lived in the South. I guess other than, black people, of course, but like it would have been devastating. It would have been a massive, by the logic that EJ is using right now, like the Confederates could have justified slavery by saying, well, look at how much harm would be caused to the economy of the South. How many people are going to lose their livelihoods, lose their land, lose their money, like not be able to feed, like how many people, how fucked is the economy going to be if slavery gets getting rid of? And of course, the correct answer is no, we're not going to sacrifice the rights of one group, like the basic fundamental rights of one group, for the comfort of another group. That's obviously the correct answer, no matter what. At every turn, if there's a group being discriminated against because of immutable characteristics that they were born with that they can't change, that's the word. We want to stop that, even if it's a sacrifice for the comfort of whatever group is doing just fine in society.
It's simple. It's very simple. Whether or not it's acceptable to kill somebody will depend on a huge number of factors that mutually impact each other. I ran away because he started to say that, maybe the Nazis had a point. I'm not going to entertain that.
He didn't say the Nazis had a point.
It's just not true that Jewish people control or controlled the banking system and shit like that. I'm not entertaining that.
Just in case.
He didn't say that Jewish people controlled the banking system. That's the... Okay, wait. EJ, do you not know the difference between a... I'm blanking right now, so correct me if I mix these up. Between a descriptive claim and a prescriptive claim? Did I get it right there? Because a descriptive claim, a normative claim and a prescriptive claim, a normative claim is just a statement of reality. At least, correct me if I'm wrong. Once again, I'm not 100% caught up on all of my lingo. A normative claim is just a statement about the world. Like, the sky is blue, or vaping is addictive. Just a statement about the world. A true statement, not an opinion, not something that is contested, something that you can very easily just see, right? Now, the normative claim of the Nazis is that Jewish people hold a disproportionate amount of positions in the banking sector, right? Now, then there's the descriptive claim, the prescriptive claim. The prescriptive claim is a statement of shoulds.
Welcome to capitalism, dude.
Prescriptive claim is...
Matt_Banks * has donated $15.
Thank you for the additional $15, Matt Banks. I'll read your donation in just a second. So, you actually made me lose my train of thought. What was I saying before? God damn it. I gotta turn off TTS. Every time I get a TTS message, it derails me. For example, a normative claim would be black people in America are generally poorer than white people in America. That is a true claim, and it's not a statement of opinion, it's just a statement of fact, right? Now, a prescriptive claim that would follow that statement would be from like a Nazi, and this is where the problem comes up, is because of that, we ought to oppress black people because of yada, yada, yada. So on, so on, and so on. So you need to be able to recognize that the prescriptive claim is true and be capable of understanding why the prescriptive claim, the normative claim is true and why the prescriptive claim is not true. I did a terrible job of explaining that, but hopefully it got through to most of you.
Vaush is watching this in his live stream. Vaush, you don't know what the fuck is idealism. You don't know shit. You don't know what is dialectical materialism and what is historical materialism because you keep using the definition for the historical materialism to dialectical materialism, and you keep like arguing about, pedophilia.
I know,
on a super
Raptor.
hypothetical situation that never in a million years is going to happen. And he tried to use that hypothetical like situation.
Vaush mentioned it was just slightly disproportionate. Yeah, what he said was not like anything Nazi related. Like EJ very performatively left that call because he recognized that was his only out. That is not like, unless EJ is literally incapable of defending his positions, like unless EJ is literally principally opposed the idea of debating people that disagree with him, and that's why he left. I'm almost certain the reason he left was because he realized that was his only out. Like, the only way he could dip out of that debate and for it to look even a little bit good for him would be if he sort of performatively acted offended at Vaush's perceived Nazism.
That would never happen. Would never be real. To try to justify his statement about pedophilia. And then he said that he called me racist name is fine. And he said that there's no problem with me suffering. So to him, I'm sorry, fucking Vaush. To you, racism is okay. And white supremacism is okay if it happens to the people that he hates. Now that's...
They just can't get it. I don't know. I genuinely just think that, like, there's a lot of really fucking stupid people in this world. And I think a lot of them just happen to sort of, like, trip their way into the right position. And God forbid some of them also manage to blindly trip their way into over 100,000 subscribers and end up actually having an audience that listens to what they have to say. And that is terrifying. Because when you have creators like this that just oppose the idea of being able to defend your beliefs, all you end up getting from this is an audience of fans of that creator that also agree that it is bad to be able to defend your positions. And that is not a left that I want to cultivate. I think... hot take, but I think it's probably good if you can defend what you believe in. You know, if you're capable of that, I think it's probably a good thing. Hot take, I know.
Your Vaush. That's your fucking debate, bro. Okay? He's not a fucking leftist. Leave me the fuck alone.
So, okay, let's talk a little bit about what I've been trying to get Vaush to understand, because maybe some of you don't understand, and maybe I didn't explain it well. So, okay, Marxist morality. We've been through this before, but we'll run through it again because I think it's very important, okay? So, okay, existentialism. Only humans can imagine an ideal world and compare it to reality, okay? This is what I consider to be to the root of ethics and morality. And just bear with me, because I know this sounds like idealism at this point, but this is what distinguishes dialectical material.
That's not what that means. That's not what existential... You're literal... That's not what that is. Okay. Imagining an ideal world and comparing it to reality is not what a hypothetical is. That is not what Vaush did. Vaush did not make up a hypothetical and then compare that hypothetical to a thing in reality. Vaush said, what is your moral system? And in this circumstance, what would your moral system, guide you to choose? What choice would your moral system lead you to? A very basic question. My brain hurts too, Pufflecakes. Maybe Destiny was right. Fuck. Maybe there are a lot more dumb fucks in the left than I thought. He's not right, though. Not entirely. He may be right about a lot of the online left, but he is still like a very, very spiteful, angry kind of asshole, And it kind of puts me off. But I will say, every single day, I become a little bit more confident that while he has become way too spiteful and has levied his criticisms way too broadly, I do become more convinced that he had more of a point than I previously believed he did when talking about the online left. I do think people like EJ are essentially on like a intellectual level no different than No Bullshit or any of the dumbest right-wing like anti-SJW YouTubers. And that was more or less the point that Destiny made back in like 2019, 2020 when complaining about people like EJ and whatnot, is that they're just the lefty version of that. And I'm a little bit more receptive to that idea now. I'm definitely a little bit more receptive to that idea. I think he might have been right about that. Sometimes, listen, doesn't mean he's always right, but I think he had a point there.
Matt_Banks * has donated $15.
Why does this guy not know like basic theory? Anybody who constantly holds over the head of other people how much theory they've read and how much they know about theory is someone who's really insecure about their beliefs and have to use like how much they've read from dead dudes that agreed with them that were also fallible humans. Like that's all they have. Like the fact that they've read all of that is all they have to like defend their positions and like justify why they believe what they believe. Because like they don't have like any actual like observations of the world that they've seen and like where they've like said, oh, there's a problem, here's how we could solve that problem, and that like leads them to their position. Like they don't have that line of that thought process. It's complete. Hold on, let me I want to introduce you guys to a word here. I'm sure plenty of you already know it, but I want to emphasize on it because it really describes so much of, I think, the online left. Moral luck. Moral luck occurs when an agent can be correctly treated as an object of moral judgment despite the fact that a significant aspect of what she is assessed for depends on factors beyond her control. Bernard Williams writes, when I first introduced the expression moral luck, I expected to suggest an oxymoron. Indeed, immunity from luck has been thought by many to be part of the very essence of morality, and yet, as Williams, 1981, and Thomas Nagel, 1979, showed, I think this might be the wrong thing. I'm trying to find... Hold on. This is the wrong thing. It's further down. Is this here? Is this it? Oh my god, there's so much to scroll through. Okay. Moral luck describes circumstances whereby a moral agent, so just a person who is engaging in some moral system, is assigned moral blame or praise for an action or its consequences, even if it is clear that said agent did not have full control over either the action or its consequences. So that's the definition of moral luck. Here's the Wikipedia page if you want to read it and look it up. Really, really interesting stuff. Basically, the idea is that like we can basically replace the words in this to basically perfectly fit American Johnson. Let's do that. Moral luck describes circumstances whereby American Johnson is assigned moral blame or praise for an action, or we're going to say for being a leftist and the consequences of being a leftist, even though it is clear that he has not had full control over either the becoming a leftist or the actions of becoming a leftist. It fits pretty damn well. Basically, it means that EJ lucked out. EJ did not arrive at his positions through like long thought out, contemplation and research. He came to his positions because he just happened to fall into that. He was raised a certain way. He had a certain level, like it's basic environmental determinism. Yes. It's a very environmental determinist idea. EJ basically just had the right upbringing and the right set of circumstances happen in his life, I guess, that led him to becoming a communist, or I guess an anarchist, as he claims to be. And he really just doesn't have anything to defend his beliefs. And of course, Luna Oi doesn't either. Luna Oi is the victim of probably a lifetime of state propaganda, so you really can't hold her that hard against the I don't know. You can't hold it against her that hard, but also she is advocating for, some pretty shitty things, so... and she has behaved quite shittily, so... Alrighty, I think we have finally finished the debate review. 2 hours and 40 minutes of raw, distilled Xander Hall rage. I don't really think it gets any better than that on this channel. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, ring the bell icon next to the subscribe button on YouTube. So YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video, and consider following my social media, all linked down below, for my Discord, my Instagram, my Twitter, and my TikTok, as well as my Twitch. Definitely follow me there as well, because I want to stream on there a little more often. Finally, if you want to support me financially, you can always donate, subscribe, or gift a sub over on my website, xanderhall.com/live. You can also donate over on YouTube, or through Streamlabs or Patreon. But no matter how you support my channel, whether it be through a like, a comment, or even just a view, or even a financial donation, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and have a good one.